What is up, everybody? Welcome to Arc 3, the grand finale of the 21 Duels Challenge. I am Delthius. How's it going, everybody? So kind of a weird show today. I've been having internet issues lately with streaming. My wife and I I don't know what it is. But the past week or two, we've just been dropping a lot of frames. So I had planned to do this finale with the gentleman for some time now and scratched my head and figured out, okay, if I pre-record the show, I can, upload the video to Twitch, set it as a premiere, and yeah, it's still kind of live, right? But it's already recorded, so that was the best I could do, guys. I didn't want to try to host this live and drop a whole lot of frames or anything like that, so won't be interacting with the chat, obviously, but you guys can interact among yourselves and make fun of me or whatever, so yeah, man, this event has been going on for a few months now. It's been streamed on several different channels. If you join the 21 Duels Challenge Discord, gentleman has compiled a list of where you can find all the different VODs, and this is the end of it. So if you're not sure what's going on, don't worry about it too much. You're still in store for some great Tooth and Tail action today, but we will do a quick overview of the tournament structure and where we're at and what's going on here today before we get started. So let me hop over to this screen. There we go, beautiful. Alright, so the 21 Duels Challenge is an event that was thought up by the gentleman, and basically how it works is there's 21 different competitors that our revolutionaries here are going to do a best of one in. So our protagonists are the revolutionaries and the opponents are the duelists here. So we started off with Mishi, the red dinosaur, Swifty, Josh, Skeleton, really cool to see him, Doohoo, Iris, and Froggo. These should all be names you're pretty familiar with if you've been following competitive Tooth and Tail. And so how it works is they all start off with 3 lives and they progress towards through the various opponents in best of one formats. If they lose the game, then they lose a life and try again. If they win, they advance to the next stage. So the first couple arcs weren't necessarily played in order, so it's not quite how it looks here. And what I mean by that is this was all done based on replays and based on player availabilities. So, maybe, for example, in Arc 1 here, Jacoby and Skeleton might have played before Pingu and Skeleton did, but nonetheless, just for the purpose of this summary, we're gonna go through it, in order. So, in the first stage, Pingu eliminates Josh and the Red Dino and gets Skeleton down to just 1 HP here. In round 2, Pingu finishes off Skeleton. The players progress through. Pedro Owl takes a life off of Mishi in match 5. The Child gets a game off of Iris in match 6. And then our players finish the 7th duel in what's called Arc 1. So after Arc 1, they get a bonus life, and they begin Arc 2, the KSR saga. So Parzival takes 2 games off of Doohoo here. Premium Bow, my man P-Boop, knocks Froggo out, I think for full HP there, and also knocks out Doohoo with his remaining 2 lives. The rest of the matches continue. In match 12, or duel 12 I should say, Vlad Lad takes a game off Swifty and Iris. We continue through. Gabany ends up taking a match off Iris as well. Arc 2 finishes. The remaining players get 1 HP back, and we begin Arc 3, and that's where we are today. So we're going to do Iris' saga first. Iris is beginning Arc 3 with 2 lives left, and he's got to face through one of the 5. So I believe how this worked was whoever kind of got there first, just chronologically, got to pick their challenger. And what this means here, one of the 5 is one of the gang of 5, the first arc duelists. If you notice here, there's 7 games, but Pingu plays twice and the Child plays twice, so there's only 7 duelists there, or 5 duelists rather. So Iris got here first, so he picks one of his opponents, and then Swifty and Mishi pick next when they get there. Match 16 will be played against one of the KSR members, unknown at this point. Match 17 against Cold Warp Gates. Match 18 against Meow Kaiser. Match 19 against DJ Soak himself, which is really cool. 20 is Lord Cheddar, and Lord Cheddar is an anonymous player. I don't even know who Lord Cheddar is. The only people who know are the organizers of the tournament. And finally, the last boss, if our duelists make it that far, is the gentleman himself. Now, if multiple duelists win, so how this works is, let's say Iris gets knocked out, but Mishi and Swifty make it to the gentleman and beat him and have 1 life left each, then they're both going to get 1 extra life and play each other until 1 player loses their lives in best of 1. If all 3 players make it through the 21 duels here, then we're going to go into a free-for-all situation, and the players are going to bop each other until one player loses his last life, and then at that point the free-for-all just stops. They don't even finish it. The remaining 2 players get an extra life and hop into 1v1 from there. So that's where we are, guys. That's what's going on here. We are beginning match 15, or duel 15 I should say, with Iris. He's got 2 lives left and he's fighting Jacobi. I think that's how it is. I don't know. I've never decided. I've casted a ton of games from Jacobi, Jacobi. I think Jacobi sounds right. I don't know. I could be wrong. I apologize, guys. It's not like I don't butcher names all the time anyways, right? Okay, so a lot of these replays here are dummy replays. So this, we're not going to have a crazy amount of games here, but there's still going to be quite a few. So hop in, guys. We got a long day of a ton of exciting matches ahead of us. Let me sip my coffee here. Alright, and let's get started, guys. Duel number 15. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got Yopasas, aka Iris, our revolutionary, and his opponent to the right, the duelist, Jacobi. Okay, let's take a quick look at this map as this game is getting started. Iris here has got a nice little, basically a pocket base there. I mean, it looks like, yeah, if Jacobi really wanted to be a crazy cat, he could come through this way, right? If you look at the mini-map, there is like a little path that he could get to that second base through. But we'll see if he ends up taking advantage of that. We just finished the Tooth and Tail 1-year anniversary tournament. I had to say, I was really surprised at how aggressive the matches were. Like, it was really cool to see, so much aggression coming out basically every game. And my game sound looks a little loud in OBS. I'm going to turn that down just a hair, because if that is louder than me, then that is not going to be good for the recording. Okay, so nothing crazy yet this game. 8 farm openings from both players, and we'll just have to see how they want to progress from here. Tier 1 coming down from Jacobi. Iris scouts it out. Is he going to go straight into Tier 2? Looks like it. He's saving up the money. No, he's just going to go ahead and go for that double Tier 1. So 8 farm, 2 Tier 1 opening from both players. As standard and safe as it gets. Ooh. And as I say, okay. Iris got me excited for a minute there, taking that gristmill, but thought more of it. So, Jacobi's got a good setup in my opinion. 3 gristmills right around his base. This moat might make it difficult for Iris to attack into the main. This campfire here is always a pretty big deal, and Iris is not totally screwed if the game goes long. He's got a couple bases up to the top that he could grab. Iris is going to go ahead and grab that Tier 2 Skunk Warren. Did Jacobi scout it out? He did. So keep in mind, if you are a new player, you can see what's coming out of a Tier 3 Warren, but that's it. So Tier 2 Warren, he knows Iris has a Tier 2, but he doesn't know that it's Skunks. And Jacobi's going to grab some Falcons himself. He's even getting some Toads. I love to see that. A few Toads can really make a big difference in Squirtle engagements, especially if they can get connections onto those Skunks. They do a ton of single target damage. And Iris going to go ahead and grab that Gristmill. So, okay, I was going to say Jacobi needs to see this, but it's kind of the natural time to take a second base, right? So Jacobi just grabs his own second base without even knowing that Iris kind of was planning the same thing. Yeah, my man, Iris rocking down that Fox Warren here. So we're going to see a Fox popping out around the 4-minute mark of this game. And Jacobi doesn't have a ton. Well, he's got chameleons and he's got balloons and he's got owls, actually. So he's got 3 pretty strong answers to the Fox in his deck. But he needs to scout it out, and I think he's going to get the scout right here. He does. So he knows the Fox is coming his way. I'm interested to see how he's going to respond to this. he's got time. Like, I don't want to see him throw down a balloon quite yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out a couple farms, maybe build another few warrens, and then grab you with things like grabbing a balloon to kind of try to counter a fox. You want that balloon to come up like exactly as the fox is hitting your base, and Yakubi gonna go ahead and throw that balloon down now. Not a big deal. It's gonna be here a little bit early, but it's better if the balloon, I guess, is up early than if it's up late, right? So. Yeah, he knows what's coming. He knows Iris has got the fox on the way. Yakubi's actually starting to macro up a little bit faster than Iris is, but as I said that, Iris sold off a thing or two in order to build some more farms. You know, Iris isn't planning on any aggression until he gets that fox out, and if he wanted to, he could even set up maybe a turret, you know, right on the edge of his territory here and give that fox a nice, safe area to kind of run back to. And that commander just getting deleted by the balloon and the falcons when he comes in to scout. But did Iris actually get a scout off on how many farms? Yeah, so he kind of sees that Yakubi has taken that half saturation, and I don't think Yakubi knows. Yeah, Yakubi hasn't been able to get over here and see exactly how many farms are coming up on that second base, and that can be a really big deal. You know, you want to make sure you're trying to stay like one farm ahead of your opponent, or you know, you can do some crazy mind games type stuff like we see the gentleman do, where you'll throw down 8 farms, you know, wait for your opponent to scout, and then sell them all off and build a whole bunch of lizards or something and catch your opponent completely off guard. But the fox is here for Iris. He hasn't moved out with it just yet. Maybe he's a little bit shy because of that balloon. But that balloon's not going to totally zone out that fox, right? Like, the commander can kind of tank the first shot of the balloon, or if the fox even takes one balloon hit, it's not going to die, right? Maybe try to get a falcon or something like that. You know, go home, heal, rinse and repeat. But that is playing with fire, so. One thing, too, to keep in mind is that these games are kind of, sort of, best of ones. Like, Iris has 2 lives here, so keep that in mind. But, you know, you're almost going into this with a best of one mentality, I would assume. And Iris trying to get a flank attack over on Yakubi. Yakubi catches a few of the units trying to rally over, and Iris manages to knock that tier 3 Warren out before it completes now, or before the owl comes out, rather. Now, Iris is incredibly committed here. He's got to hold his ground or this fox will die. The fox goes down, but Iris gets a lot of damage in. I think that was okay for him. It's kind of rough. Like, both players lost a ton. They both have really good economies. I feel like if Iris just goes home, you know, sells off the fox, and then from here maybe tries to just come in with some pressure, right? He should be in a really good spot. But no, he's actually going to try to hunker down and get out a second fox, another option as well. But now he's on the defense, man. And Yakubi is aware of this. Yakubi is going to move in and try to seal the deal against Iris in this game. It's going to come down to the target firing on the falcons, the connections on with the toads. And Iris is holding just fine so far, with a couple falcons left over to boot. And Yakubi's going to have to go home with his tail between his legs. All right, Iris getting the high ground. He's starting to rally up. Moving in. Again, it really comes down to the target fire on these falcons, which I got to say, in that particular engagement, it looked like Iris had done slightly better, but Yakubi ends up cleaning up Iris's falcons regardless. And now we're starting to get scrappy. I don't know, this is starting to look like an overextension from Iris. The fox shows up, however, and the fox is just going to wreck upon these falcons. Very nice. And now Yakubi is not prepared for this fox. He had to get rid of that balloon earlier on, or maybe it died, and I missed that. I apologize. But this looks like too much momentum from here. So Iris is, I believe he's about to win against Yakubi and move on to duel number 16 without losing a life. Very exciting first match here. Yeah, that should be it. I do have a lot of games to get through today, and you know, we really want to get this finished up, so I might do some fast forwarding as games are, you know, obviously over, or during boring spots and in big macro games or something. So very nice. Iris takes the win. Okay, so we're going into Duel 16 with Iris keeping all of his lives. Okay, so for Duel 16, there's a little bit of a fun trivia thing. There were two possible opponents that could have been fought here. It was either Gabony or Blackmore Crest, if I remember correctly. And the way it worked was that Gabony asked a trivia question to the combatants, and if they answered the trivia question correctly, they got to choose who they fought. Otherwise, Gabony got to choose. So, the question was, what's the most picked unit on the ladder besides the squirrel? And the answer was Falcons, and Iris got the question correct, and he opted to fight Blackmore Crest. And we are hopping in to Duel 16. Let me actually do something real quick. Alright, hopping into Duel 16, let's do it. Okay, spawning on the bottom, we've got Blackmore Crest. And his opponent up top, La Nina, aka Iris. Alright, give me 1 second, I just realized my Discord notifications are on. Alright, anyways, I'll deal with that later. So, Blackmore Crest rocking the Badger, and Iris still with the Fox here. On paper, you know, there's a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors between the Badger, Fox, and the Owl. Of course, it doesn't always play out like that in application. You know, a revved up Badger can get up on a Falcon and bop it really quickly, you know what I mean? So it's not always necessarily the case, but that's kind of the idea. So just coming into this game, I like Iris's deck slightly better than Blackmore Crest, but you never know. I mean, it's fun for me to kind of talk about deck compositions and tier 3 choices and map layout and stuff like that, but sometimes it doesn't even matter in the game, you know, if we see something aggressive. And Blackmore Crest and Iris both opening up 7 farm warrants here. I believe this was Blackmore Crest's intentional build, and Iris responded after seeing the slightly early Warren with his own Squirrel Warren here. And this map looks pretty okay for both players, I suppose. I guess I like Iris's position slightly better, even though, you know, Blackmore's kind of got 2 bases right here in his front yard. Iris has this nice pocket base, and he's also got the campfire, and the campfire can be very, very big in one base situations. So Iris actually opening up with a very, very fast expansion, and Blackmore Crest did get that scout off, and he's going to respond with his own expansion. And there's a lot of water in this map. Like, it might be hard if Blackmore sets up a nice front line, you know, around here. You know, when you try to walk over this bridge, your units are going to clump all together. You know, Blackmore Crest has stuff like skunks that can deal a lot of AoE to clumped up units like that, so it can be difficult for Iris to attack in this game. And if Iris does end up getting that Fox out, Blackmore Crest does have turrets. He does have 1 entrance to his base, so Blackmore Crest could essentially, you know, zone out the Fox completely with maybe 2 turrets, maybe even 1 turret if you want to be a madman, but 2 turrets would absolutely do it. So pretty regular openings for both players, a little bit on the greedy side, I suppose, but greed has kind of become more and more standard as the meta game in Tooth and Tail continues to shift, and it kind of makes sense. It's kind of that natural progression in any RTS game, either on launch or after big balance changes. You know, the very beginning of the meta, people are being highly aggressive because, quite frankly, you don't know how greedy you can be and still hold off against those early game attacks, right? But once players kind of figure that out, those early game attacks become less and less prominent. You know, that's why if you're a big fan of, you know, big games like StarCraft, you'll see like a lot of the pros, you know, do pretty greedy openings because they know, all right, if I do something cheesy, my opponent knows how to deal with it and be ahead. You know, the classic example in Tooth and Tail is something like the 5-farm double Warren attack. You know, that's a very strong, aggressive opening, but, you know, most good players at this point have kind of figured out, you know, how to deal with that 5-farm double opening and still come out of it ahead economically. So little things like that are always really interesting, I feel like. But it's weird as I say that because, again, man, the TnT 1-year anniversary tournament, I think we had 18 matches and like 2 of them were macro games. Like, it was just very, very aggressive stuff the entire time for both players. So Blackmore Crest has already got these turrets established here. I don't think he's seen the fox, though. Let me double check that. Yeah, he hasn't seen the fox. Eurus throwing down that fox warren in a very hidden spot. Love to see that. So these turrets are a little bit unnecessary here from Blackmore Crest if I want to be super, super nitpicky. The thing with defense is you always want to build a minimal amount of defense at the last second possible. Now, this isn't game breaking or anything for Blackmore. You know, he's in a nice tight spot. But the theory that Blackmore Crest is using here is like, I'm going to build a couple defensive structures so I can hunker down and macro up. And the problem with that is, you know, Eurus can scout and say, hey, my opponent's building defense and macroing up. Therefore, I can macro up without building defense, right? Again, it's not the biggest deal in the world, and I don't want to pick on Blackmore too much. It's a pretty standard thing to do. But it's just something kind of interesting to comment on. And what's really cool about Tooth and Tail is that it doesn't matter as much as it would in another RTS game, because if Blackmore Crest decides he wants to get aggressive, he can simply sell off these turrets, you know, throw down some Warrens, and it's essentially like he never had the turrets in the first place, right? Besides just slowing down a little bit. But this is a nice timing here from Eurus. He's moving in right as Blackmore is trying to expand his tendrils on this map, and you know, Blackmore wanted to leapfrog his turrets up forward here before this attack came out from Eurus, but Eurus just with the, you know, razor edge timing attack, you know, comes in right before this area was established, manages to deny it, manages to trade pretty well, I feel like, with Blackmore Crest's army there, and now he can move in and keep the pressure going. You know, turrets are fantastic, but you know, not when they're by themselves. You got to have some units up front tanking for them, so Eurus has been able to pick off a few of these turrets here. Blackmore Crest is really on his back foot. He's got to, you know, hold off and try to recover here. Now, Blackmore Crest hasn't been dealt critical damage quite yet, but Eurus, I feel like, is in a demanding spot. He now kind of controls the map. It's going to be hard for Blackmore Crest to even take this third base again, let alone, you know, put on some aggression. So Eurus really has the tempo in this game from here on out, and he's just going to continue to poke away with his Fox and force Blackmore Crest to take the engagement, because the longer Blackmore waits, the more and more damage this Fox is going to do. Now, this is actually looking pretty good for Blackmore. He got a nice concave there. He got some good skunk gas situated, but Eurus is still standing strong with a few Falcons and a Fox and takes the match. All right, man. Eurus is knocking him out. Let's see. Okay, so now we're on Duel 17. Boom. There we go. Nice. Okay. So nothing weird with this one. It's just a regular game. And we've got Eurus coming up against Cold Warp Gates. And Eurus has 2 lives left. Let's hop into it. Duel 17. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got the revolutionary Eurus. Constantly changing his nickname here. And up to the top right, we've got the duelist Cold Warp Gates. Alright, so Cold Warp Gates a little bit of a newer player. I feel bad for him. Like, every time I cast a game with him in it, I always like start with that, and he's probably screaming at his monitor like, Delthius, I've been playing for like 6 months, like, come off of it already, right? But I think, if I recall correctly, Warp Gates joined the scene right around the Steam sales and stuff like that, you know, back in like March-ish, I want to say, or maybe over the summer as well. He got really into TnTTV and submitting, and I kind of knew him from there. So I'm excited to see him being involved with things coming into this tournament. This is a very important scout. Eurus going for the 4-farm triple here, and this is kind of the map to do it. It's a really small, open map. I guess there's a little bit of a choke here, but what I mean is, like, Cold Warp Gates is exposed, right? Like, it's going to be rough for him to defend this, and even with the lizards here from Eurus, making this rush a little bit more effective. He's going to wait for just a few more lizards. He's got 3. 3's a nice number to come in and start harassing these pigs with. Grabs 1 pig. He's going to commit. Go for that second pig. Yeah, it's always tempting, and it almost never works out. It was very, very close there. But Cold Warp Gates defends, and I think that was okay. Like, he lost a pig. Iris lost 3 lizards, maybe 4. And Cold Warp Gates is doing okay on farms as well. But since Warp Gates has the toads, this rush is effectively shut down here from Iris. These lizards, you know, it's really hard to deal with toads as a lizard player. And Cold Warp Gates is perfectly aware of this, so he's going to come in and start trying to put on some counter pressure. One of the toads detonates. The other toad actually dies without detonating. This is going to give Iris an opportunity to clean up all these squirrels. Another toad coming in. Units get traded out, and that's what Iris needed to get back into this game. I don't hate what Warp Gates tried to do there, but the toad control wasn't exactly correct. You know, when you have toads against lizards and situations like that, you really got to hold on to them, hold them back, and try to wait and detonate them into the perfect positions. So Cold Warp Gates is going to keep the pressure on. You might as well. Like, the only other option is kind of what Iris did here, where you downsize on your warrens to get your farms out a little bit quicker. But this might actually be a little bit rough here from Iris if Cold Warp Gates is going to commit in here. I really am interested on this toad control. He's got to be careful with these toads. Yeah, he's keeping them back this time. He wants to move them forward to buffer against the lizards. Fantastic job from Iris. Knocking out one of those toads, but the other 2 toads connect on the entire pack of lizards, and is Cold Warp Gates going to get another farm? Yes, he does. Very nice aggression here from Cold Warp Gates. I like this a lot. I don't feel like he's over-committing. You know, he's got 7 farms behind this. He can easily grab an 8th farm here, and I would just hang on if I was Warp Gates. Like, I would probably grab my 8th farm, several more squirrels, a pigeon warren, and keep the pressure on from there. You know, the pigeon will add a lot of sustainability to this attack. He can kind of pull back, let his units heal a little bit. I think that's the right play. But he's going to keep the pressure going, which is perfectly fine here. Iris might actually be dead. You know, if this next wave deals too much damage, this might be GG for Iris, and he might be losing his first life in Arc 3. Let's see, the first pig going down. A lot of squirrels still remain here for Cold Warp Gates. Another pig falls. Warp Gates is going to lose the remainder of his squirrels, but he's done the damage. And Iris loses a life. I'm trying to be a professional and mute my mic when I cough. All right, so we're still on Duel 17 here, guys. Iris lost a life. We're hopping into the second game in Duel 17. Let's do it. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got Cold Warp Gates, the duelist, and his opponent to the right, the revolutionary Iris. Alright, man, Iris is on his last life here, so that last game was a bit of a risk, right? Iris said maybe it was Iris not respecting his opponent. Maybe it was Iris just trying to change it up in the early game. But more often than not, I actually believe that the decision-making of that last game from Iris was based on the map. I mean, that map just was so tempting to try to do some lizard rushing, you know what I'm saying? Iris had a little bit of fun there. But Cold Warp Gates, I feel like, dealt with it really well. You know, if I wanted to be super nitpicky on Warp Gates, his toad control in the first couple waves wasn't amazing, but his toad control got much better in the follow-up attacks, and you know, got to the point where he ended up killing all of Iris's lizards with 2 toads, and I think that was really the moment when he won the game. So nothing crazy coming out so far in this match. Both players just going up to an 8-farm opening. The map looks okay, I suppose, for both players here. I prefer Cold Warp Gates' position. He's got this high ground. And Cold Warp Gates can make it really difficult on Iris if he manages to secure this area. I actually like this warren placement from Iris a lot. I think this is correct from Iris. He's basically saying, I have to control this area, right? Because if Cold Warp Gates manages to come in here and obtain this high ground, you know, now Iris is completely contained. He's on the low ground here. This base isn't even safe at that point, so I love this play out of Iris. I think this is absolutely correct. He's got to muscle out on the position for map, because Cold Warp Gates doesn't in this situation, right? Like, look at this for Warp Gates. He's got 3 gristmills and 2 campfires just sitting in his backyard. And Warp Gates is going to come on with some pressure. Now, this is basically the same amount of money invested that Iris does. He needs to target fire down that Toad. He didn't quite target fire it down, but the Squirrels did a good job of knocking it out. Iris is going to deflect this attack back. Nice victory here for Iris. Cold Warp Gates came into that attack with just a little bit more army value and food. You know, since Iris had taken that Gristmill, but pretty comparable army sizes, I gotta say. The tanking was a big thing there, the Toad's not connecting. So this puts Iris a little bit ahead, but the game's not over for Cold Warp Gates. I would be hesitant if I was Warp Gates to continue unabashed aggression at this point after losing that first attack. Yeah, he's even a little bit worried and throws down a balloon. I think that might be an overreaction. I think I would have rather have seen him maybe try to get some Falcons up and start to get his macro on. Like, I would grab these couple campfires back here, but there's a lot of ways you can go about doing this. So Warp Gates is gonna maybe use this balloon as like a buffer zone for the pressure, and you know what, this balloon's actually gonna really do really nicely trying to keep this ferret back. But Iris is gonna hard commit in, and the Toad, oh my god, the Toad trade there from Iris was absolutely insane, man. He traded like 2 Toads into 5 or 6. Cold Warp Gates was a bit too far behind that balloon. The balloon, kind of like the turret when I was talking about it in a previous match, you know, it's a great defensive structure, but you've got to defend them. You know, if they're left alone like that, they'll die very, very quickly. So Iris is now putting a lot of pressure on Cold Warp Gates, and this, you know, makes Warp Gates kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Because he can't just sit back and try to recover, or the ferrets will slowly pick off units and warrens. So really, this is the best thing Warp Gates can do against this ferret aggression, is commit in now, right? Because right now, he's suffered the least amount of free damage from this ferret harassment, if that makes sense. But that's where there's so much power in this ferret style of play, because you force your opponent into taking an engagement that's bad for them, even if they know it's bad, right? Like, ferrets, I don't want to call it a win more unit, but it's kind of like that a little bit, where it can be hard to get the lead with the ferrets, but once you have the lead, you really get to dictate when the engagements happen. And I want to say from here, Iris just has too much, and he should be knocking Cold Warp Gates out. I don't think, the problem is he's just on top of Cold Warp Gates production. He's never going to be able to muster up enough units to deal with this attack. You know, even if he forces Iris back for a split second, yeah, Iris is just going to re-rally here. And he should be able to come in and deliver the killing blow. Ooh, nice little toe connection, but I don't think it's going to be enough, you guys. And again, I have a million replays to get through today. Iris has definitely won this match. Cold Warp Gates taps out. And we're going to continue on to Duel 18. Okay, so Duel 18. Boom. Beautiful. Alright, nothing weird about this duel. It is just Iris versus Meowkaiser. Okay. Let's hop into it, guys. Duel number 18. Actually, let me coordinate real quick with the gentleman. I'm gonna have to mute my desktop audio for a second. Actually, maybe I can avoid that. Give me 1 second. Do. Volume mixer. Alright, yeah. Okay, what we want to do. Alright. No music for just a sec. Boom. Oh, it's so dumb when you turn off Discord notifications, they make the noise. It's like, that's why I'm turning off the notification. I don't want the noise. Alright. Duel 18, guys. Iris versus Meowkaiser. Let's do it. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got Meowkaiser. OG in the scene, and his opponent to the right, Iris. Yeah, Meowkaiser, I think Meowkaiser's been around just as long as I have. I remember seeing Meowkaiser back in the early days of Tooth and Tail. Over a year ago. It sounds crazy to say that now. So both players with very similar decks here. Wow, the only difference is that Iris has Toads and Meowkaiser has Turrets. Iris with a little bit of mole shenaniganery. Meowkaiser with his own mole up top in a more hidden spot. Iris's mole is a more just to force a direct response. But Meowkaiser's not here. He didn't micro it or something. And the pig, oh no! Oh, the pig finished building just at the right time. I don't know. Oh man, I wasn't paying attention if Meowkaiser's mole got anything done. But my guess would be no, because Iris was kind of over there on top of it. But man, if Iris wouldn't have rallied that mole back, it looks like he's gonna, no, just barely not gonna get it. I think that mole needed to hit that pig like one more time. So I could be wrong here, but I believe it was a no harm, no foul situation with these moles. I don't think either player lost a mole or killed a farm, but if I'm wrong about that, I'm sure the chat will correct me and yell at me. But it's not going to influence what I'm saying because this is a pre-recorded video you're watching streamed live. Okay, so Iris still has his mole here, and if you're wondering why, he just wants to wait for it to get to full HP and get the full refund of 60 food back for it. And we're going to kind of progress into a regular game from here. Both players just putting down tier 1 Warrens at the moment. Nothing crazy. Ooh, Iris, I was getting excited. I saw him stacking up to 150 food. I was like, is he going to throw down the fox? But no, he's going to throw down the ferret. A little bit more of a safe play. I like this. I like the 8 farm, 2 tier 1 into the ferret opening. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty flexible. And it's not anything too crazy. So Meowkaiser grabs this campfire, which is a very, very big deal. Iris has scouted that. So that kind of forces Iris into attacking very, very soon. He can either throw down like 2 or 3 more tier 1 Warrens and just try to go YOLO, or he can take his own base. But Meowkaiser is already beating him to the YOLO party, it looks like. He's building these moles on the front lines, and when you're doing something like this, it's always a sign of an all-in. Here he goes, Meowkaiser using the moles up front to tank. One of them getting very low, one goes down, but Meowkaiser's getting some damage done. He's moving in against Iris's forces. That ferret in the back just slowly picking off on Meowkaiser's units, but the defender's advantage here, the pig fire, the reinforcing units from Iris is enough to push Meowkaiser back, and this puts Meowkaiser in a very bad spot because he lost so many moles there. Moles are very expensive, man. Like, they do help with pushes like that, but you know, that's what kind of makes those kinds of pushes all in, because, you know, now Meowkaiser really doesn't have a lot to show for his army, you know what I'm saying, where Iris still has these ferrets here, and with some proper micro, those ferrets from Iris can stay alive for a very long time, if not the entire game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Iris continue to put on some poking pressure, but Meowkaiser, man, is just going hard. He's got a ton of squirrels. He's moving forward. The target firing is going to begin here, but Meowkaiser, I guess, thinks better of it and is gonna back home for the time being. Iris looking to grab this high ground position and put the pressure on himself. All right, the harassment is beginning here from Iris. And the great thing about having ferrets like this is you don't have to hard commit into the Warrens. Like, you can just hang back and let these ferrets slowly deal damage. One Warren goes down, and the aggression continues for Iris. But as the squirrel numbers are starting to shrink, Iris backs out. He really doesn't want to lose these ferrets here. And Meowkaiser might not have been getting the, you know, he's been kind of getting the short end of the stick here on these engagements. But keep in mind, he's had this campfire, which is a very big economic advantage. So I don't know how much that's going to even things out. You know, once Meowkaiser gets up these skunks, if he can in time, it's definitely going to help him defend here, as one skunk is already out, but it goes down. Nicely done there by Iris. Losing tier 2s in disengagements are really the maker or breaker, you know, in these skirmishes. That's kind of how it works in Tooth and Tail, right? Like, you expect your tier 1 to die, but the big thing is trying to keep your tier 2 alive and trying to murder your opponent's tier 2. So Meowkaiser's keeping the pressure on. Both players really want to control this high ground, this path between each other's bases, because if you control this high ground, then you're kind of in charge of when the attack happens, right? Like if Meowkaiser is on top of this high ground and Iris can't walk through it, then he can't attack Meowkaiser's base. Iris with the engagement, he gets one skunk immediately. The second skunk falls as well. And is that going to be it? I mean, with a similar amount of squirrels here, but Iris with the ferrets on the back. Meowkaiser defends for now, but I'm just worried he's losing too much in these engagements. He's going to sell off that skunk warren. Maybe try to re-rally as many squirrels as he can. Maybe build some moles as well. Iris wants to get that campfire, but he's too broke. We've passed the 5-minute mark. You know, these farms are starting to go barren here. Meowkaiser again trying to secure this high ground, but Iris has more squirrels at this point, and he's got the ferrets. I think this push is going to be the one to break Meowkaiser's back. Iris moving in. Loses all his ferrets. Very nicely done. I mean, loses all his squirrels, rather. Very nicely done there by Meowkaiser. Nice hold. If he can get these ferrets, that's absolutely huge. One down to 5 HP, but Iris is going to get out in time. Jeez, man. This is such an action-packed game. Really cool to see. Really aggressive play coming out of Meowkaiser here. Iris is starving, man. He's gonna go grab this campfire now to prevent that, but you know, Meowkaiser's got a second base up. He's starting to throw down some farms. If he can keep it cool, if he can continue to push away Iris, then he might be able to win this game. 9 squirrels versus 6. Keep in mind the ferrets are here as well. 2 squirrels already going down. 3 go down to the ferrets. But Meowkaiser pushes Iris back again. Meowkaiser has the better economy, but Iris with the ferrets here, if he micros them well, maybe he's just going to get too much damage done to the infrastructures here of Meowkaiser. You know, losing these warrens in such a scrappy position like this is absolutely monumental. Yeah, and this is why I personally really like ferrets and feel like they're pretty strong in the right hands. Like, Iris hasn't lost a ferret, you know what I mean? Like, those ferrets have gotten so much value over the course of this game, you know, on the back of good control and good decision-making, and I think that's gonna finally be it. Meowkaiser puts up a phenomenal fight, but Iris ends up taking it in the end. Alright. Hopping into Duel 19 here. Doof. Iris on his last life. He can't mess around anymore. He can't do cheeky things like that 4-farm triple he tried against Cold Warp Gates, you know. He's got to be playing correctly from here on out. He's got to be bringing his best builds, his best deck compositions, and he's going to go up against DJ Soak here. Now, if you're a newer player, you probably still have heard of DJ Soak. He's not as active as he used to be, which is why I'm really excited to see that he participated in this event. But he was, like, in the launch, you know, he was kind of the guy. Like, he was winning tournaments and stuff, and he was really exciting on my side of the table, because when we launched, there was kind of, I mean, it was never, you know, like, too intense, but there was a little bit of an unsung rivalry between, like, the alpha players and the players who started at launch. And DJ really represented us, you know, like, he just picked up the game, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm like 90% sure DJ started at launch, so it was really cool to see him, you know, knocking out these players like Xeno and all those guys who had been there since, you know, had so much extra practice on him, I guess. DJ was notoriously known for his mole play as well. Arguably one of the best mole controllers in the game. So I'm hyped for this match. Let's hop into it, guys. Duel 19. Iris versus DJ Soak. Alright, on the bottom we've got our duelist on his last life here, Iris, and his opponent up top, the one and only DJ Soak. DJ Soak without a 5th farm queued, which is a sign towards mole aggression, which is what we'd expect here out of DJ. Now the moles that are in live are a lot different than the moles of the olden days, but I don't think that's going to stop DJ at all. And DJ actually going for a really hard contain strategy. He already took that gristmill there, and he's just kind of getting in Iris's head a little bit with some mind games with these early moles, but Iris has his own moles there, so DJ can't really get anything done. And DJ's already taken this base outside of Iris's main, and he's going to throw down a turret, and he's going to start this hard contain. He's got turrets, he's got balloons. And this is exactly the kind of play I would expect out of DJ, man. Really cool to see. And now Iris is in a lot of pressure. Under a lot of pressure, I should say. He can get ferrets out, yeah, and eventually break this, but the problem is going to be when this balloon comes up for DJ. You know, these turrets aren't quite in range, but the balloon that he's about to throw down right there. Ooh, is he even going to put it? Yeah, he's going to put it as far forward as possible. This balloon is going to be in range to pick off that one pig, certainly, and then deny additional pigs from going down for Iris. And another thing, too, like the ferrets are not going to be useful against the balloon. The ferrets, I guess, can kill the turrets around the balloon, and then the squirrels get in there and kill the balloon. But here we go. The first pig already falling here for Iris. I don't believe any of these other pigs are in range. But now Iris is in a tough spot, man. Keep in mind, if Iris loses this game, then that is it. He is knocked out of the 21 Duels Challenge. Making it very, very far, though, and all the way to DJ Soak in duel number 19. But Iris isn't dead yet. Just a couple of squirrels are enough to knock out a balloon. They're not very tanky here, quite squishy units. Iris is well aware of this and knocks the balloon down. And now he's going to begin breaking out of this contain here from DJ Soak. DJ Soak only on 4 farms. He's very, very exposed here. And Iris, very smartly, is just going to walk right by that gristmill and start harassing DJ's economy immediately. But DJ is going to make a whole bunch of moles and just try to base race Iris before his gristmills go down. Ooh, Iris kind of sniffs this out, though, and partitions his units. He's letting that ferret stay on the aggression, and he's bringing his squirrels back to defend against these moles. He's going to defend, and I think that's it for Mr. DJ Soak here. Iris is going to advance. Oh, wow, what? Oh, my God. Oh, my God, you guys. The gristmill went down? Is that correct? I gotta see that again. I just had assumed that Iris had won from there. There's no reason Iris would have tapped out. Wow, I can't believe that happened. I thought for sure that Iris had enough squirrels. He had his squirrels back at home. He had his ferrets there. Really? I'm so confused. Really cool game from DJ. This contain kind of strategy. It's one of these things I always kind of compare it to like playing blue decks in Magic the Gathering, you know, where it's like insanely fun for you, but not fun for your opponent when you're getting like contained upon. Let's see it. What is there? Oh, he's got another mole in the back. 2 moles left. Oh my God. I can't believe he did it. Oh, that's amazing. All right, so Iris is knocked out to DJ Soak. And that finishes his arc here. Nice run by Iris. And loses the game against one of the Tooth and Tail legends, DJ Soak. There's never shame in that. So, we are going to go to the break screen, but I'm still here, you guys. I didn't leave you. I'm just doing some back-end things and hashtag production value, right? So, I need to get the second arc ready to go. Where did I put it? I remember where I put it. Okay, we're getting there. Getting there, you guys. We're going to do Mishi's games here next. Alright, so get rid of those. And put these in here. And let's update my scoreboard. I believe Mishi begins this with 4 lives. Okay. Okay, okay. So we've got... Really cool so far. Alright, alright. Okay, that should be correct. Let's see how that looks. Boom. Beautiful. Oh, wait. I gotta refresh my... There we go. Yay. Okay. So, we are hopping into Mishi's Arc 3. And keep in mind, he's going to kind of do the same thing we just saw Iris did. Like, that's kind of how this format works. So, Mishi gets to match duel number 15, and he chooses one of the 5. Yakubi was already chosen by Iris, so Mishi gets to pick between the child, Pedro, Lisnek, or Pingu as his duel 15 opponent. And let's see who he decided on. Let's hop into it, guys. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got the duelist, the child. And his opponent to the right, the revolutionary Mishi. Alright, I love this style coming out of Mishi, man. I think it's personally fun. Like, my favorite style to play has always been Ferret, Fox, Turret. Because, I don't know, it's my favorite style to play, right? That's an opinion. I don't need to justify that. But yeah, so, and I like the Squirrel, Lizard, Toad approach, because Lizard always gives your deck so much flavor, I feel like. You know, doing things like this 5-farm Lizard opening is always cute. You can even do a 5-farm double if you want to go hard about it. You know, you can always tech switch into Lizards later on. Lizards are a little bit of a counter to a lot of units that people don't really anticipate. I feel like Lizards are very strong against things like Skunks and Snakes and Falcons, which are all very popular in today's meta. Mishi moving in with just one Lizard. Now, Mishi's a very cerebral player and knows that's exactly what he needed, and sure enough, he knocked out that building farm. Very nicely done there from Mishi, very calculated, and he didn't even lose that Lizard. Very, very impressive stuff, but you would expect nothing less from Mr. Mishi. I mean, he's easily one of the top 5 best Tooth and Tail players, and he's going to move in with 2 Lizards this time and deal another crippling blow to farms of the child. And wow, I mean, I don't want to give Mishi too much credit, but, like, that was really impressive to me, because that first Lizard came in at, like, exactly the right timing, where that building farm had just a small enough amount of HP, right, where one Lizard could get in there, knock it out, and live and get back. And because that Lizard lived, you know, if that Lizard would have died getting that farm, it still would have been good for Mishi, but he wouldn't have been able to do the follow-up, because that follow-up was also a very razor-thin timing, where those 2 Lizards had just enough DPS to get in there and get something done. Now, Child's going to counterattack here with a lot of squirrels, and normally this wouldn't be as big of a deal for Mishi in this situation, but Mishi invested some money into economy here. He took that campfire in the top, he took this gristmill, and the Child's able to get some damage done, knocking out a warren or 2. I believe Mishi did sell one of those warrens. I wasn't paying super close attention. Yeah, he sold one of the squirrel warrens at the very least. If I had to guess, I believe 1 warren died and 1 was sold, but Mishi might have sold both. So nice little bit of counter aggression there from the Child. And this is cool for Mishi. He's checking over here because, you know, he assumes that's where the Child would hide something like a tier 3 warren if he was going to. And Mishi feels threatened, so he's gonna, you know, throw down a couple turrets. He realized that turret's not gonna get up in time, but he's still got 1 turret to help defend this push. In a very nice position here. Let's see, the Child trying to kind of shuffle his units around and try to find that sweet spot where he could hit the gristmill without being under turret fire, but he stays a little bit too long and starts to back out before Mishi really has the oomph to contest him. Now the Child's going to move in, and Mishi and the Child are going at it at the moment. Pretty even engagements for the most part, but the Child manages to push through there. And now he's continuing the pressure onto Mishi, but keep in mind that Mishi has this campfire in the north, and the Child is not aware of that, if I had to guess. I'll double check once we, you know, get a break in the action here. Alright, I like this turret placement from Mishi. Just kind of moving the front line up a little bit. You know, now that if the child wants to attack into Mishi, he's gonna, you know, be under fire, you know, from the get-go when he moves up that high ground. And it's also gonna allow Mishi to feel a little bit more comfortable with that second base there. But again, I feel like the real story here is this campfire up top, man. Like, that thing is just going hard, making a ton of money for Mishi. The child hasn't been able to scout the entire map this game, so he doesn't even know that that campfire exists. And Mishi is just keeping the pressure on, you know, really securing this high ground position, which is phenomenal for him because so many bases are up here going into the ferrets. And, you know, once Mishi gets his ferrets out, this is going to be a really difficult spot for the child because the ferrets can sit here and poke, you know, from the turret line. So the child, to prevent the poke, is going to have to essentially, you know, all in Mishi and fight underneath those turrets and try to break them. And alright, the first ferret is out on the map. You don't have to wait for 2 ferrets to begin the harassment. Mishi gonna move this 1 ferret forward and start poking down upon these warrens. The best thing the child could do, I suppose, yeah, it's either A, you move in right now, or B, you sell off these warrens and don't let Mishi, you know, harass you from such a safe position. But the child's just gonna go for it here. He's gonna YOLO in. These toads are for sure gonna get some great connections. 3 toads do a ton of work to the tier 1 army of the child, and now that the child's a little bit bopped, Mishi's gonna move in. Keep the aggression going. You know, use these ferrets to get a ton of value. Do things like knock these turrets out for free without losing tier 1 units. Mishi's got a couple farms on the back of this, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it and say Mishi wins from here, and we're gonna do a little fast forwarding. There we go. The child taps out, and Mishi advances to duel number 16. Do a little back end thing here. All right. All right, duel 16. And that is going to be against a KSR Remnant. Is that the trivia one? I think that's the trivia one. Yeah, so again, Gabany asked the question to Mishi, what is the most picked ladder unit besides the squirrel? Mishi did not answer the question correctly, and Gabany sends out Blackmore Crest against Mishi. Let's hop into it, guys. Duel number 16. Alright, spawning in the bottom, we've got Mr. Mishi, the Revolutionary, and his opponent up top, the Duelist, Blackmore Crest. Okay. Let's see how this game's gonna progress. Cool. I like this deck out of Mishi. This is kind of his other, you know, big. If I was gonna typecast Mishi, you know, he's got that one Ferret Fox turret style he likes to use a lot. And then he also likes this Chameleon Falcon Wolf play as well. I haven't seen this style work out as successfully for Mishi, so I'm excited for this game. I don't remember exactly what tournament it was, but I remember he lost the tournament recently, trying to get the style out, I believe against the Gentleman, and the Gentleman just kind of, you know, dealt so much damage by the time the Wolf was out, it really didn't, you know, help Mishi as much as he would have hoped for. But let's see it. I hate to ponder too much on things like that, however, because this game could be over in 2 minutes. Like, we never know. But judging from the geography of the map here, I don't think that's the case. This map is a pretty nice, you know, big, open map, long rush distance, lots of water and stuff like that you got to go through. Both players on a high ground with one opening to their base. Yeah, this is a perfect map to do something like a quick tier 3 rush. This is an incredibly quick tier 3 rush, however. I am a notorious tier 3 rusher myself, and you know, normally my rule of thumb is, you know, you go 8 farm, 2 tier Warren into a tier 3, into 2 more tier 1 Warrens, and I think that's the safest way without getting super creative like we see Mishi doing here, that you can get out a tier 3. Mishi opted to go straight for the tier 3 off of 8 farms, and he's going to back this up by building a ton of barbed wire and basically trying to discourage Blackmore Crest from even attempting to break him. which I think is a cool way to do it, because if Mishi tried to go like 8 farm tier 3 into some tier 1 Warrens, I don't know if he would have enough, by the time Blackmore Crest got there to defend himself. That's why we see him doing this barbed wire approach, and which is pretty cool. It's a nice, creative, new way to try to get out that fast tier 3 Warren. And Blackmore Crest is still going to try to walk through this and put on the pressure towards Mishi. But he might be thinking better of it. His unit's already dying to this barbed wire. So much value already for Mishi. Yeah, poor Blackmore Crest. He's going to have to go home. And unfortunately for him, this puts Mishi in a dominating spot, right? Because you have to be incredibly decisive in Tooth and Tail. Like, I don't hate what Blackmore Crest tried. He did the right thing on paper to the 8 farm opening, but not against this barbed wire here, as we saw Mishi defend that with flying colors. Blackmore Crest would have been in a much better spot if he either went for his own tier 3 Warren, or if he took a gristmill with a whole bunch of farms, you know what I'm saying? But since he built those early units with the intention to attack into Mishi's base and didn't get anything done against Mishi, now it puts Mishi in a very nice spot. Blackmore Crest is not dead. He's got a nice economy going. And the wolf is going to take some time, right? Like, it's not something like a boar or a badger that's just, it's like, okay, right when this unit's out, I'm going to push across the map and be in your face. Or something, It's kind of like, okay, we're going to eco up for a minute. I'm going to help produce some units faster. I'm going to build up to a lot of tier 2 that benefit greatly from the wolf buff here in the form of the Falcons and Chameleons. And then I'm going to push out. Now, Blackmore Crest, the clock is ticking. He doesn't have a whole lot of time. Mishi should be moving out here shortly. He's probably going to wait for his Chameleons. And I'd love to see, from a high-level player like Mishi, him move all his tier 2 over here or something, and with the wolf, and let the wolf buff them specifically before he moves out for a big engagement. It's not net. You don't have to do it, but I always love seeing guys do that. And you can see him. He did that here a little bit. The pigs, yeah, he did it. I don't know what I mean by a little bit, but he moved his squirrels away. The building pigs are not going to get the buff, so all his tier 2 are buffed, and the wolf is going to come in and start doing a ton of damage to Blackmore Crest, but surprisingly not a lot of damage. Like, he gets the gristmill, which is a big deal, but I feel like he traded ineffectively there. He lost 4 Chameleons, and Blackmore Crest with a lot of momentum is going to counter push in, and Blackmore Crest, I believe, is going to take the victory from here. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I love this style out of Mishi, and it's really cool, and it's innovative. But it's just not working out for him. Like, that went about as best as it could have for Mishi, right? Like, he got out the build, he got out the timing he wanted, but Blackmore Crest, man, he's like, whatever, dude, you with your fancy Wolf, Chameleon, Falcon shenanigans. I'm just going to build, the bread and butter composition. And maybe it had to do with the fact that Mishi pushed into that defender's advantage and he target fired down the gristmill. But those Chameleons just died very quickly, and I believe that's going to be game here. Blackmore Crest is going to take a Oh, as I say that, Mishi is going to hold. And Blackmore Crest loses his army completely, but Mishi has no money. He's got no economy. He's starving. He'd have to sell something within the next 15 seconds to get a gristmill up. He's not even going to bother. He's going to try to come in here and kill Blackmore Crest. As long as Blackmore Crest doesn't tap out, I think he wins. I don't think he can kill everything in time. Oh my god, Blackmore, don't tap out, bro. Yeah, Mishi's already past the point of no return. He cannot get... Well, actually, no, he can. Yeah, never mind. For some reason, I thought these farms were mined out. So he can begin another farm here and get out of starvation. Look at him. He's just going to show off and do it at the 5-second mark. Keeps the wolf alive, which is very nice. Man, I have no idea what I'm talking about this game, you guys. I was like, all right, man, Mishi's coming in with this huge push. He's going to roll over Blackmore. And then Blackmore just wrecked him in that fight. And then, okay, Blackmore's just going to win the game from here. And Mishi somehow stabilized this wolf, in small numbers. Getting that wolf buff is absolutely huge. If you're a newer player to the game, the wolf gives units buffs where they move faster and attack faster. So lots of DPS coming out of these wolf buffed units. Is it gonna be enough though? Wow, those buffed up chameleons just wrecked through the squirrels of Blackmore Crest. And Mishi takes the game off the back of a very scrappy, very close match that I incorrectly called twice. Okay. So that puts Mishi into Duel 17. Boom, Maroni. Okay. Mishi going into Cold Warp Gates. Let's do it. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got the revolutionary Mishi. And his opponent to the right, the duelist, Cold Warp Gates. Alright, Warp Gates was able to take a life off of Iris in the previous set. Let's see if he can get anything done to Mishi this round. I think Warp Gates is counterpicking Mishi here a little bit. Mishi is also known for his Fox play, so this is a very kind of anti-Fox deck that we see out of Cold Warp Gates. And it's a deck that has a lot of potential to either contain its opponent or split the map favorably and force it into a long game where the late game Sky composition of Owl Falcon, you know, you get that out and you just overwhelm your opponent. The thing that I'm worried about a little bit here for Cold Warp Gates is that he's only running lizards, which is always a risk. And Mishi's gonna come in again with this one lizard opening, gonna get in here and attack this building farm, and it's gonna work yet again. Cold Warp Gates sells it off, gets 20 bucks back, but I love it, man. This is a really new, it's really cool to see players figuring things out like this after the meta has been around for so long, you know what I mean? Like, just taking that Warren a little bit faster with some lizards, and okay, if I move in exactly at this time in one lizard, he's not going to have anything, and I can maybe take out a corner pig or an exposed building farm. But Cold Warp Gates, with the counter attack here, a lot of lizards of his own, but lizards are not very good at attacking into positions like this. Cold Warp Gates baits out a couple lizards for Mishi, but Mishi ends up trading one of his lizards for 2 from Cold Warp Gate, which is going to net Mishi up 40 food at this point against Cold Warp Gate. It's not the end of the world, but when you're playing against a very strong player like Mr. Mishi here, any little advantage they can get, they really know how to compound. I don't hate this turret out of Cold Warp Gates, just really wants to be safe against Mishi. I'd like to see him sell it, you know, here soon. I think that turret already kind of served its purpose of stopping Mishi from coming in all the way, but I don't think Mishi really would have anyways. And now Mishi is starting to get a nice economic lead. He's taken this campfire. He's already got a second base up and running. Cold Warp Gates is going to have to take a base of his own to respond. He's going to opt for the base down in the south. Pretty good. These other bases up here, kind of hard for Warp Gates to get to. Well, actually, if you look at the minimap, he's got a break in the wall right there, so he can ramp over to that. A little bit of a hidden base, though. You know, Mishi might not scout it out and might not expect it, but this is that risk you take when you only run lizards, man. You can get caught in a position where you're against toads, and in certain metas, it wasn't as big of a deal because toads have not always been meta. Like, they've been meta in the most recent balance patches, but back in the day, you could kind of get away with it, right? Because back in the day, toads, you know, really the role of the toad was to beat down on lizards. And now the toad has a much bigger role. The toad is just in general a good unit at the moment, you know. I'm never gonna say, you know, this is a bad deck if you run Squirrel Toad, you know what I mean? Or for that reason. You know, they could do a ton of AoE against any tier 1 units. They could do a lot of single target against tier 2 and tier 3. And of course, they still hard counter the lizard. But again, it's something that's cool as well that we see players kind of figuring out as the meta continues to evolve, and little control things are kind of figured out over time where, you know, we see guys who are able to dance with their lizards and kind of pick off a toad without it detonating and rinse and repeat, and manage to beat lizard toad with just pure lizard. It can happen. It's very difficult, though. Requires a lot of skill and maybe a little bit of luck, too. Alright, Warp Gate's coming in. He's going to take out this exposed campfire. Very nice pickup here. He's just going to run away from this point. Let's see if Mishi commits to the chase or not. He's got all these toads here, man, but the mines, you gotta be careful about. One of the mines goes off. Doesn't impact things too much. I'm no expert. You know, don't listen to me, but I wouldn't hate to see mines maybe get a little more AoE range or something, because most of the time when we see mines go off, they're not super impactful. But then again, there are the moments where like 2 mines come out and delete everything, right? But here we go, Cold Warp Gates, a little bit of a mistake there, running into Mishi, hoping to just kind of force him back, but Mishi's like, no, man. You know, if you want to fight, we'll fight. And Warp Gates is like, crap, that's not what I wanted you to do. It runs away and takes some lizard losses there. Now Mishi, with his forward base, is starting to lock Cold Warp Gates in. And Mishi's economy is just getting out of control here as he's saturating up the third base. Keep in mind, Cold Warp Gates does have a fully saturated second base down south. But here we go. Mishi with the big engagement. The toads connect. And oh my god. All the lizards going down here for Cold Warp Gates. Mishi gonna back up for the time being, but just for a moment. He's gonna rebuild his tier 1. He's gonna continue the harassment here with the ferrets. And he's gonna continue pushing through. Alright, let's see it. 1 ferret goes down. That's what Cold Warp Gates is looking for. Now, Warp Gates is not completely contained in this position. He can still get to these bases back here, and he's still got that owl. I know the owl is a, you know, it's a pie in the sky. It's a pipe dream at this point. But if somehow, some way, he can get up a healthy economy, he can get out an owl or 2, he can slowly start getting back into this game. Right now, Cold Warp Gates is in, you know, all hands on deck mode, man. He's really just, Mishi is trying to execute a takedown here of Warp Gates, just slowly coming in. And Warp Gates is aware of this, keeping his units in the right position, building just enough defense to keep the ferrets back for the time being. And there we go, the third base goes down for Mr. Warp Gates, and he is just going to continue to commit 2 lizards here. Alright, toad connections are starting to go off. A couple more toads are still here for Mishi, but they end up just blowing up on defensive structures. But enough lizards have already gone down for Cold Warp Gates. I think Mishi has done it from here. There are a lot of lizards reinforcing out of the warrens here from Warp Gates, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Neither does Cold Warp Gates. He taps out. Mishi continues on to duel number 18. Boom. Boom. Boomeroonie. Alright, let's hop into duel number 18. I think after this arc, I'm going to take a 5 to 10 minute break. My throat's starting to get scratchy. I need to get something to drink, use the bathroom, all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm doing this in one fatal swoop, so I'm not going to edit out the break. You guys can just have your own break. Live as well. Hopefully this translates to live. I know this isn't as fun as, you know, doing it legit live on the stream where I can interact with the chat and you guys can yell at me when I say stupid things, but I figured this was better than me lagging a whole lot and dropping frames and stuff, right? That's what I assumed. Okay, duel number 18. Let's get into it, guys. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got Mr. Mishi. And his opponent to the right, the duelist, Meowkaiser. Alright, pretty similar compositions. Both players running Squirrel, Ferret, Fox, and Turret. With Meowkaiser opting for the Mole, Skunk, and Mishi going for Toad, Lizard. And let's see if this is kind of a trademark opening here from Mishi. I believe he's been doing it most games here, where he either puts the Lizard Warren on 6 or 7 farms. Meowkaiser, a bit of mole harassment here. Let's see if Mishi scouts this mole out. He has not just yet. No, he puts the Lizard Warren on 5 farms. And then he probably lets one Warren begin, and now he's going to queue a farm, or lets one Lizard begin. Yeah, and since he opens with a 5-farm Warren, it's kind of got the added benefit of being safe against this mole style that we see in the early game here. Wow, this opening is super effective by Mishi. I might have to steal this, man. Alright, Mishi's going to come in. Now he's just going to harass this Warren because it's built far enough away from the farms. And by the time the squirrel gets out, the lizard can change target over to the squirrel, beat it in a one-on-one. The next lizard's already on the way here. Yeah, Mishi's going to pull back, try not to lose this lizard. But Mishi's already done a ton of damage this game. You know, he knocked out that early mole. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, 5-farm Warren used to be the standard. Now it's kind of like 8-farm to tier 1 is the standard, but it used to be 5-farm tier 1 was the safest opening to do because mole aggression was a lot more popular back in the day. Alright, Mishi thinking about coming in, but decides against it. And no harm, no foul. Doesn't lose the lizard. But this opening for Mishi is really cool because, you know, the 5-farm lizard, as we can see there, is basically a hard counter to that little bit of mole shenaniganery in the early game that we see players try to do. And that mole harassment in the early game is nothing like the mole all-in or anything like that. It's just a little bit of mind games, a little bit of technical play to get an edge. Maybe if you catch your opponent's commander out scouting, you can pick off a building farm, or, you know, maybe if they don't quite respond to it correctly, etc., etc. But that 5-farm lizard Warren opening was really cool because the lizard can run down that mole and really punish the opponent for going for that. And then also just 1 or 2 lizards, you know, showing up when you're not prepared for them. When you're going for an 8-farm opening, you know, we've seen Mishi really be able to get some damage done and cause some havoc with that. So Mishi starting to get an aggressive posture here. Both players grabbing gristmills. I'm not so sure at this point if these are actual economic gristmills or if it's mainly for the territory. I think in Mishi's case, a little bit of both, right? Like, I think he wants to build some turrets up here on the front line. He's just building that one turret back a little bit, so he can kind of leapfrog additional turrets up, probably right to the edge of his territory there. And let's see, Meowkaiser just going hard with a lot of squirrels. Ferrets being placed down from both players. Mishi going to have his ferrets a little bit earlier. Meowkaiser does have that farm building, and Mishi has not opted for any farms yet. He might not be building any farms at all. This might be one base play from Mishi here, using this gristmill only for the territory expansion. And Meowkaiser going to try to catch this turret unguarded. He comes in at a nice angle, but Mishi here is going to defend in. The Toads get some good connections. A lot of squirrels still remain for Meowkaiser, though. And a lot of the tier 1 is going to trade. And Meowkaiser actually not in a bad spot after that engagement. I thought that was going to go a lot more poorly for him there. Now Meowkaiser's got his own ferrets up so he can start pushing back on Mishi. This is starting to not look good for Mishi here. Mishi's really committed to this forward position. If Meowkaiser breaks this, then I think that's basically game. One ferret drops for Mishi as well. Meowkaiser got to be careful of this commander at 1 HP. If that commander dies, so will Meowkaiser, basically. You know, at high-level play like this, micro-intensive situations, you know, a commander death can easily be GG. All right. The onslaught continues. The skirmish is still here. The Toads get wonderful connections against those clumped up squirrels. And Meowkaiser with no tier 1 left. However, just that 1 HP ferret remaining for Mishi. Meowkaiser still got both his ferrets, and he can retreat back to his Warren line where, you know, Mishi's going to be a bit hesitant about attacking into that. This tank gristmill kind of serves its purpose, but Mishi ends up taking it out in the end. And this variety of tier 1 is really helping give Mishi an edge here. Keep in mind, Meowkaiser does have a better economy. He's got 2 farms on that gristmill. But, you know, Mishi's got the whole cavalcade of tier 1 here. The squirrel, lizard, toad. And that's just kind of doing better than pure squirrel. And it kind of makes sense why, you know. Alright. A little bit of a ferret dance coming out of both players. Oh, I was worried for a second there. If one of these ferrets happens to land some attacks, but Meowkaiser going out too far. Mishi baited him forward, and the lizards pounce and knock out the ferrets for Meowkaiser. That is not good at all, but Meowkaiser has a ton of tier 1 left. This is his opportunity to get in here and take out the ferret from Mishi or deal some other form of critical damage. He really needs to get this ferret, and the ferret will go down. Nice pickup there by Meowkaiser. Yeah, and I wouldn't even mind to see him continue this up. Yeah, force Mishi to sell off that Ferret Warren. And Meowkaiser's not even going to bother with that Gristmill. The way that he's looking at it is like, I can take that Gristmill out whenever I want. I want to capitalize on this timing that I have, this momentum I have, and try to do some crippling damage to Mishi's main base. And does Mishi decide? Yes, he does. Mishi taps out, and Meowkaiser takes a match off of the Revolutionary. Boom. Okay, where are we at? Duel 18. All right, so we're hopping into match number 2 of Duel 18. Really good game. All right, spawning at the bottom, we've got the duelist, Meowkaiser, and his opponent up top, the Revolutionary Mishi. Mishi switching up to that second style that we saw in that Blackmore Crest game, going for this Wolf Chameleon Falcon style. Now let's see if Mishi decides to go for that 8 farm Wolf again. I don't think he would. It just kind of made, well, this map's not terrible for it. Meowkaiser with a Mole Rush up here in the top. Yeah, this map's not terrible for it. It is big, you know, and typically if you're gonna do a tier 3 rush, having a large attack distance in between the bases, you're a little bit safer. But Mishi isn't as open as he looks. I mean, Meowkaiser can kind of sort of come around this way, but hold that thought. The mole's coming in here for Meowkaiser. Mishi's going to sell off his farms just in time. And a nice little bit of harassment here from Meowkaiser. Not a lot of damage dealt, but he does reset the timing on those farms. So Meowkaiser can, in theory, you know, get up to 8 farms slightly faster, but Mishi is already, you know, getting on his way to up to 8 farms as well, so I'm not really sure. Maybe somebody's screaming in the chat right now, and Delthius, you have no idea what you're talking about, but overall, I think no harm, no foul there. If anything, I might say Mishi is a little bit ahead, because he's going to get his economy out slightly faster. And the additional warrants coming out from Meowkaiser shouldn't matter with how big this map is. So yeah, so I wouldn't hate to see a fast tier 3 out of Mishi here. I think with this Wolf style, you're really trying to get that Wolf out right. And no, he's just going to go for a pretty standard tier 2 opening. It makes perfect sense. You can always grab that campfire or grab a base, get to tier 3 later. You know, there's kind of 2 ways you can approach getting a tier 3. There's kind of like the one base tier 3 play where you do some kind of tier 3 rush, but I think the more standard, safe, appropriate, you know, quote unquote, like natural evolution of getting out the tier 3s, when you've got like a lot of tier 1, you know, you've got a couple tier 2, you've got like a second base with some farms on it, and then it's like, all right, let's throw on the icing on the cake. Let's get that tier 3 warrant up. So Meowkaiser taking a very aggressive stance here. Gonna grab this Gristmill as close to his opponent as possible. A little bit of a mistake grabbing that back Gristmill, I feel like. I think Meowkaiser wanted to do that at first, you know, because it was safer, and then he was like, nah, screw that, man. I'm gonna come up and get this Gristmill right on Mishi's face. And so far, the squirrel engagements weren't bad. However, once the Chameleon joins the fray, Mishi dominates that position. And that's a big investment that's, you know, down the drain here. For Meowkaiser in the form of that Gristmill and in the form of those squirrels. And now Mishi's got so much momentum here. I don't think he's even considering things like a Wolf timing anymore. Yeah, he's going to keep the pressure on. That's going to be too much. Meowkaiser's going to tap out. Mishi advances to duel number 19. All right, Mishi versus DJ Soak. This is going to be awesome. Let's hop into it. Oh, gotta press save there. Boom, there we go. Duel 19. All right. Spawning in the bottom right, we've got the duelist, DJ Soak, and his opponent in the upper left, the Revolutionary Mishi. All right, Mishi with that main deck, in my opinion, against DJ Soak here. DJ playing, you know, doing his DJ thing. He's got the moles though, so that's really really what matters here. That's really what we're here for, to see the moles coming out of Mr. DJ. Is he gonna do a little manor mole at the beginning? Yeah, it looks like it. And he sees that the turret is put down at exactly the right time. He knows that the mole shenanigans have been deflected. He goes home for now. Let's see, DJ floating some money here. What does he decide to do with it? And in the meantime, Mishi going again for that quick lizard opening, but this time he goes for a 6-farm lizard instead of a 5-farm. I wonder if maybe that had something to do with a little bit of mole pressure that DJ put on. But DJ gonna continue with even more mole pressure here, but decides to sell it off once he sees that Mishi has not gone straight for 8 farms. And now I feel like Mishi's in a good spot. You know, DJ floated a lot of money messing around with those moles. His farms should be a little bit behind Mishi's, but it's not super impactful. And DJ even throws down a couple turrets here to defend against anything like this coming out of Mishi. And he's going to be perfectly safe. So we got to see where the players want to take the game from here. This kind of early game cheesing, mind games, you know, aggression has kind of faded at this point, and now these players really have to make decisions on how they want to approach the game. Mishi taking that pocket expand. Let's see if DJ gets the scout off on that. He should when he goes up that ramp. Oh, he just barely doesn't. If he was paying attention, he knows a gristmill exists back there because he could see the edges of the farm, but he did not scout it. Alright, so DJ going to go into a ton of squirrels. And meanwhile, Mishi macroing up, you know, building enough tier 1 to be safe, but also getting 2 farms on that second base here. And DJ gonna snag that campfire as he comes in for another scout. He really needs to see this base, and now he's for sure gonna see it as those farms were building there. So now he knows what's up. And how is DJ going to respond? He's going to go for a 1 base all in, I guess, since he canceled that campfire. Maybe he's going to rally these 15 squirrels, build as many moles as humanly possible. And he's going to come in for it. Mishi is aware, however, that DJ is feeling desperate. He's starting to throw up some turrets. Is DJ going to find an appropriate angle to get in here against this nicely defended position from Mishi? DJ is advancing forward. Drops a mole or 2 there, but it's starting to put the pressure on his opponent. That turret on the side is getting so much work done, though. I mean, this is a hard cookie to crack here for DJ, man. Like, this is such a defendable position here for Mishi. You know, with the high ground, with the turrets, with the warrens, with the pigs. I mean, that's rough. And DJ realizes it's rough and backs out and concedes. Okay, I'm going to have to take a second base. But now, again, it's almost like that situation we saw in the Blackmore Crest game against Mishi, where he decided to try to push in against Mishi's 8-farm woof opening. It's like, well, you kind of already made your bed here. You know, now DJ is miles behind Mishi. If he would have decided when he saw the gristmill earlier on, I'm going to take a second base and macro up, then they'd be in about the same spot. But DJ wanted to end the game right there and really didn't get any damage done. So now Mishi is in a great position. DJ's not dead. He's not out of the game. Ooh, losing his commander and thus losing this campfire as well. Is Mishi going to be greedy and go for the Warren? No, he's not, but still a nice little pickup there. And Mishi just finding little edges to get more and more ahead in this game. I'm curious how DJ is going to try to get back into this. I think DJ realizes, you know, the number one thing he needs to do is get a fully farmed second base. But Mishi with the counter aggression here with the lizards. The flank attack coming in. Gonna kill 2, maybe even 3 pigs if he stays around for it. And DJ doesn't have lizards, so he doesn't have the mobility to really come back and defend this. Oof, that is rough. Mishi just finding a lot of different ways to gain some value in this game. This is one lizard! That one hero lizard, man. Taking out that Warren all by himself. Alright, for the sake of time, I am going to do a little fast forwarding here. Lots more tier 1 on the way for Mishi. He's got his ferrets out. He's got a fox Warren on the way. And he's going to start the harassment here. These ferrets are just going to get so many kills on this big clump of squirrels. 3 squirrels already going down. And yeah, this looks really tough for DJ. I don't think he'll be able to deal with this, but let's see if DJ can come up with something. Yeah, he realizes as well that he's not going to be able to deal with it. Taps out. And Mishi advancing to duel number 20. All right, duel number 20. Let us hop into it. Spawning on the left, we've got the revolutionary Mishi. And opponent to the right, the duelist, Master Stealth. Is that actually Master Stealth, or is that a nickname? Because I was told nobody knows who Lord Cheddar is. So I don't know if nobody knows who Lord Cheddar is until just this moment, or if whoever Lord Cheddar is trolling. I'm gonna ask gentlemen. I don't know. Let's see if he answers. I've got this, since I'm doing this on recording, and I don't want to make any like critical mistake because this tournament is a little complicated. I've got gentlemen in Discord just kind of chiming in with them every now and then, telling them where I'm at, making sure the state of the tournament is correct. So Mishi again with this opening, gonna come in here and harass, but the Warren is gonna provide enough buffering. Is the Warren gonna go down though is the question. It looks like Master Stealth here believed it to and sells it, and that's already 40 food worth of damage that Mishi has done here just with this a little bit faster than an 8 farm Warren opening. But no critical damage to Massa. Massa does get behind a little bit. These two lizards try to come in and snipe that farm, but Massa Stealth very quickly sells it off. Nice little dance in the early game. Gonna net Mishi a small win. Alright, gentleman's not telling me. So, Lord Cheddar could be Massa Stealth, or could not. I have no idea. But for the sake of the cast, I am going to call him Massa Stealth, I suppose. Alright, Mishi again moving in with these lizards. Gonna bleed off the lizards here, but does end up knocking out that farm. It's a trade I'll take any day of the week. Nice little early game bobs and weaves here from Mishi. Manages to trade 3 lizards for a farm and also net 40 food to boot with additional harassment. Master Stealth moving in with the squirrels. Gonna throw down some aggressive mines. I love seeing aggressive mines like this. I don't feel like they're utilized as much as they could be to reinforce pushes. Maybe that's why they're not utilized as could be. But I feel like when you're doing that, like, I don't know, it's hard. They didn't quite build fast enough, right? Because the idea is you throw down those fast mines, and then right when you start losing the fight, you can retreat to them. But the problem there was Master Stealth started losing the fight before the mines were done, so if he started retreating, the mines would have just died. It was kind of weird. So a little victory there for Mishi. Grabbing this campfire, that's absolutely huge as well. And yeah, Mishi is going to evolve up into these ferrets as we've been seeing him do in these games. He can take this Gristmill over here, I guess, and I don't know if that's going to give him much more territory. I don't think so. I think that's about the same spot as his other Gristmill. Yeah, he doesn't really have a spot super close to his opponent's base to throw down turrets and just be really annoying like we've seen him in previous matches with the ferrets. Now Massa is aware of the campfire here, so he knows he can't sit around when it comes to economy. He does have this nice base up here, a little bit of a pain in the ass to get to, but not too bad. I think that's safer. I actually think this is a rough base to take for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's so close to Mishi on the low ground versus the high ground, and plus there's no ramp right here. So, like, imagine if Mishi was, secured up on this high ground here, poking in. Massa would have to run all the way around like that to come in. So that's going to be a really hard... The only way this base will be taken from Master Stealth is if he can secure this high ground position with his own units. So when he's coming into his first expansion, I feel like that's the better option up there. But, Mishi's not fooling around, dude. He's got a ton of units on the map. He's got a nice rounded out army here with Squirrel, Toad, Lizard, Ferret. And he's beginning some harassment while also having a half-saturated second base and a farm. So this is going about as good as it could for Mishi. Massive Stealth's going to commit in here, but Massive Stealth has to win this engagement very, very hard to get back into this game. Tier 2s trade with one another, and it looked like Massive Stealth was on the way of winning that engagement very hard, but those clutch turrets from Mishi there really make a big difference. But the next Chameleon is here. Massive Stealth debating on if he wants to go in. He moves forward. That Chameleon gets... excuse me. The Chameleon gets detonated on, though, by that Toad. And you know, Toads do a ton of work to Chameleons these days. And now the Ferret pressure is going to continue here. Ooh, a little bit of a Chameleon ambush, though. Mishi's got to be careful. Mishi pushing forward here. Gonna grab that Warren. Little things like that are a big deal. Is Massive Stealth, it looks like he's going for the base race. Ah, I wanted to go up there. I fall for that all the time too. But Mishi's got to be aware this is happening now, since he's probably realized he's not being met with any resistance. This is very all-in for Massive Stealth. His economy is dwindling. Meanwhile, Mishi has a very healthy income here, so Massive's got to make it work. He's got to get something done. He's got to destroy that second base at the very least, but so many great Toad connections here for Mishi. And at best for Massive Stealth, he traded evenly there. But he's got to get a lot more done than that, is the problem. Like, even if that was an even trade, which it probably wasn't, that's not good enough. And I don't want to be anticlimactic, but I think Massive Stealth's just dead from here. Mishi's got a very healthy army, a very healthy economy. Let's see it. Massive Stealth with a few squirrels, with a couple chameleons, in a dream. A dream to prevent Mishi from winning. A dream to be the one to take out the revolutionary here. But I think Mishi's got this in the bag. I think Mishi is going to advance up to duel number 21 and face off against the last boss himself, the Gentleman. All right. Okay, so Mishi has made it to the last boss. Now keep in mind, if Mishi does beat the Gentleman here, he is not yet the winner. We still have to see if Swifty also beat the Gentleman. And if Swifty does also beat the Gentleman, then Mishi and Swifty have to duke it out to see who gets the crown. Let's hop into duel number 21. Alright, spawning on the right, we've got Mishi changing things up with his composition here. And his opponent to the left, the Gentleman, the last boss. The Gentleman with a great tournament run in the Tooth and Tail 1 year anniversary. I always feel weird because I always want to talk about tournament results, but I'm also aware that a good chunk of you who are watching this might not have seen the 1 year anniversary tournament. I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't think it's a spoiler to say the Gentleman did well. I think that's to be expected. But if you haven't seen that tournament, guys, I highly recommend going over to Mishi's channel, twitch.tv/MishiFuss. It was casted by me, Mishi, and AV Ultima, and it was a lot of fun. Alright, 8 farm openings from both players here. Pretty big map. Long rush distance, right? Like, it doesn't look like it at first glance, but if you look at the mini-map here, I don't know why I don't use my mouse more often as like a pointer, but if you look at the mini-map, you know, the players either have to go this way or they have to go this way to get to one another. And I feel like for 1 to 2 base play, I like this position better for the Gentleman, but I think if the game goes long, Mishi will get the advantage here. I don't know. Let's think about it as the game's coming up. So, you know, Mishi's pretty obviously got these couple pieces of economy, right? The campfire, the 2 gristmills there. Let's see what's on Gentleman's side of the map. I would say the Gentleman's got 2 gristmills available to him. This one and then this one. And these other 2 gristmills right here, I don't know, man. They're really, really risky for either player. I feel like if either player was able to secure one of these 2 gristmills, they've probably got so much map control and dominance in the game that they're just going to win already, if that makes sense. So, I mean, I guess both players have access to 3 bases. Mishi gets the campfire, but that's not a big deal if you're like... I would never say, you know, oh, this guy's got 3 bases and a campfire. This guy's got 3 bases. The guy with the campfire has got a huge advantage. It's not how campfires work. Campfires are a huge advantage on 1 base play, but you know, when we get later on, like, it's just 1 farm, you know, compared to 8 farms on a gristmill. So if one guy's got access to 24 farms and the other one's got access to 25, that the percentage, the ratio, doesn't matter as much as when one guy has access to 8 farms as opposed to 9, if that makes sense. Because I believe, is my math right? Yeah, if you have a campfire on 1 base against an opponent who doesn't, that's a 12 to 13% economic advantage, which is huge. It's absolutely huge. Gentleman with a ton of lizards here. Did he fake Mishi out? No, Mishi knows. Mishi knows Gentleman built a ton in Tier 1, but Mishi's got some toads, and he's hoping the toads are going to be enough. He needs to get some good connections. 1 toad kind of goes off prematurely there. But Gentleman just backs out right when he sees the toads and realizes, well, let's see it. I mean, Gentleman definitely has the micro to do the dance against the toads and pick them off without losing his entire army of lizards, but he's going to run around and try to catch Mishi out of position. But doesn't accomplish anything. Bleeds off a lizard. He has to retreat before he's able to kill that pig off. That pig, he's going to get a tattoo about that experience, man. Down to like 1 HP. He's going to be at the bar, taking shots of whiskey, smoking cigarettes, recalling the days of the war. All right, Gentleman, running in again. I don't think he's going to get to recall anything as the pig does go down. No tattoos, no whiskey for him. And the Gentleman gets some damage done, knocks out 2 farms. 4 lizards. I'll take that trade any day of the week. Mishi gonna come in here, knock out these turrets while they're undefended. Nice job not letting those toads blow up into the turrets, and those toad connections are pretty damn good there for Mr. Mishi. And this might be it. That might be too much damage. The Gentleman is in a rough spot here. He's going to try to put up some turrets to maybe help buffer against reinforcements, but I think that might be game. I don't know. Gentleman's got a healthy economy, but if this base goes down, which it does, Mishi is now on 2 bases against 1. The Gentleman taps out, and Mishi advances to either winning the entire thing or having to fight Swifty to see who wins. We'll have to find out after the Swifty games. So, okay, so what I mean by that, guys, is Mishi completed the arc. So, after you complete the arc, you get +1 life. So now he's up to 4 lives. And he might just win already, right? Like this, if Swifty doesn't beat the Gentleman, if Swifty doesn't get all the way through the 21 duels, then Mishi is the winner. But if Swifty does beat the Gentleman, then Swifty also gets an extra life, and then Mishi and Swifty duke it out until somebody runs out of lives. So, with that, we are going to go to a quick break. I am going to do human things and relax for a few minutes. And then we will come back with the Swifty arc. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in about 5 or 10 minutes. This would be a good chance for you to make a sandwich or whatever. I'll see you in a little bit, guys. What is up, everybody? I am back. Boom. Let me just, do that. There we go. Okay. A little bit of... Maybe... Ooh. Yeah, I don't like this. Give me 1 second. Let me clean up this scoreboard just slightly. Okay. There we go. And a little. There we go. That looks good. Okay, so if you're just joining us, Iris was eliminated by DJ Soak. Mishi won the, well, win is not the right word. Mishi completed the 21 Duels challenge and has 4 remaining lives. So if Swifty gets knocked out at any phase and doesn't continue all the way through, then Mishi is the winner. If Swifty wins, then Swifty will get 1 bonus life, and we will go into matches of Mishi versus Swifty to see who we crown as the final champion. So for the first duel number 15, Swifty chooses one of the remaining players out of the gang of 5. He decides to choose Lesnick. Let's hop into it, guys. Alright, spawning on the right, we've got Swifty, the revolutionary, and his opponent to the left, the duelist, Lesnick. Alright, I'm excited for this game. I've always been a really big fan of Swifty's play. So let's see what he decides to come out with this game. I think Swifty's pretty well known for containment styles, for fast tier 3 styles. And we'll just have to see what these players want to do. No moles or anything like that this game. I expect to see pretty standard 8 farm openings from both players, and we'll just have to wait and let the players show us what strategies they want to do from there. There's a variety of different openers that are kind of meta to go for, you know, building tier 2 quickly, a tier 3 quickly, a bunch of tier 1, a more standard timed, you know, transition into tier 2 and tier 3, trying to get up a fast economy. And we're still just kind of in the early game, waiting for these players to show us how they want to approach this game. Nothing crazy going on just yet. Lots of campfires up here on the top. It'd be really cool to see these players try to sneak a couple of them. It looks like that might be what Swifty's on his way to do right now. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and grab this top campfire. Lesnick doesn't have any lizards to easily run over there and get that. He does have chameleons, so maybe later on he could take it out if he even scouts it. That's one of the advantages of taking a campfire like this is, you know, it may just go completely unpunished. Your opponent might not ever realize that it's there. So, 8 farm, 2 tier 1 from Lesnick, 8 farm, 1 tier 1 into tier 2 from Swifty. Both openings just fine. And the tier 2 goes down for Lesnick. Now, snakes are pretty good in the right hands, I feel like. And, you know, if we were going to talk about snake versus falcon, I think my money's on the snake there, as the snake's really just got to get a couple tags of poison on the falcon to eliminate it, where the falcon's got to come up and go pretty hard on the snake to knock it out. And if the falcon did do that, then it's probably going to die from snake poison anyways. So let's see, Swifty taking an aggressive stance. He's gonna look to put some pressure on his opponent. The snakes are really good at doing that sort of thing in the early game. You know, tag a tier 1, tag a Warren, you know, rinse and repeat, get some harassment done. But Swifty's not gonna go crazy. For now, he's just gonna grab the skunk and continue on. Lesnick actually takes this campfire right next to Swifty's, and I don't think either player is really aware of it. That's kind of funny. Alright, Swifty scouts that Lesnick is grabbing a second base. And that should prompt Swifty to either grab his own second base or build a lot of tier 1 and try to break his opponent, try to catch his opponent, you know, investing too much on that second base in the form of farms. But no, Swifty going to take this gristmill right outside of his opponent's base, and he's going to try to set up an aggressive position here, you know, have that territory to help heal. Have this Gristmill to help tank, maybe even throw down a turret or two, but the Snake's going to try to force the engagement. That Snake goes down almost immediately for Swifty, and big trades back and forth, but Swifty manages to take the upper hand, and now he's got so much momentum. He's got the turret on the front line. I don't know if Lesnick is long for the world here, as Swifty moves in and continues to do a lot of damage. One farm already falling. The harassment continues here for Swifty. The Snake doing a ton of work to these pigs. Needs to be careful though, and these pigeons really helping reinforce this front line. The Snake gets very low. The Snake goes down. That's what the Snake needs. But I think Swifty's just got too much at this point. Yep, and Lesnick thinks so too. Taps out. Swifty advances to duel number 16. All right. Again, the trivia question was presented to Swifty by Gabany. What is the most picked unit in the ladder besides Squirrel? Swifty incorrectly answered. The correct answer was Falcons, and Gabany decided to send Blackmore Crest out against Swifty. All right. Spawning up top, we've got the Revolutionary Swifty. And his opponent to the left, the Duelist, Blackmore Crest. Alright, pretty big map here. And it's going to be rough for Swifty to expand. I mean, he can take this base over to the right. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but if I'm Swifty and I'm looking at this map, I mean, I see a really small rush distance. I don't see a very obvious second base to take. I see some pretty accessible campfires. I might be going for some kind of one base play here, maybe off an extended economy from those campfires. Let's see how he wants to play it out this game. So far, nothing crazy. I might actually do a little fast forwarding here, just through the early game, as we don't see anything too crazy going on. Both players going up to 8 farms. Let's see if they throw down tier 1 Warrens or try to go straight to tier 2 or anything like that. Yeah, Swifty goes straight for a tier 2. Meanwhile, Blackmore Crest with a more standard 8 farm 2 tier 1 approach. And again, Swifty's going to get out these early snakes and try to start putting the pressure on his opponent. Oop. Skunk Warren going down as well for Swifty, and the Falcons are on the way for Blackmore Crest, so kind of similar openings to what we saw last game. We're just kind of fast forwarding through this a little bit. Keep in mind, Blackmore Crest did snag this campfire down south. Let's see if Swifty is aware of it. He is not. He knows the campfire exists, but does not know that Blackmore Crest has it. Swifty gets a nice scout off on Blackmore Crest, though, sees all the tier 2 on the way. And Blackmore Crest is also perfectly aware of what Swifty's up to. Pretty mirror builds from both sides thus far, but the advantage at this point goes to Blackmore Crest, as he does indeed have that campfire. Yeah, Swifty is definitely going for a one base approach here. 3 minutes in, no expansion. He scouts the campfire of his opponent. Maybe that's going to be the first point of contention. He's just going to move his snakes out to knock that out basically for free. Nice catch there. It's always really important to continue to scout the map as the game progresses and find things like that. It's a very nice pickup there for Swifty. Now, Blackmore Crest has had that almost enough time to where it basically paid for itself, but that was about it. So kind of a no harm, no foul type thing there. But that campfire lead that he had going for him is now negated. Alright, yep, this is kind of where I thought this game would progress. Blackmore Crest trying to get a second base up. Swifty going for a one base strategy here with the Fox as the epicenter of this build. Swifty is taking this forward Gristmill, but don't let that confuse you. He's most certainly not going to saturate that up. If he wanted to take a base to just take a base and go into a later game, you would have taken this one over here. But Blackmore Crest is moving in to this position, and Swifty has that Gristmill helping to tank for him, but is it going to be enough? Lots of tier 2 dropping from both sides, and overall not bad for Blackmore Crest. I don't feel like, yeah. And now you can even come in and finish off this Gristmill. Yeah, nice little victory there for Blackmore Crest. But he's not aware of this Fox. The Fox was supply blocked for a second there, but now it's building. Blackmore Crest needs to get some damage done. He's moving in towards Swifty. The snakes are already firing down some poison. The skunk gas from both sides is going up. Swifty with the defender's advantage here. Is it going to be enough, though? As Blackmore Crest is pushing through. These pigeons really helping to reinforce this push, but his commander dies. However, luckily for Blackmore Crest, he was kind of pulling back by the time the commander went down anyways, so his whole army didn't just get wrecked while being unmicroed by Swifty or anything like that. But the real story here is that this Fox is almost out. And Blackmore Crest has really no answer to this Fox. Once he sees this Fox, he's simply going to have to all in. That's going to be the best bet here. And Swifty is probably pretty happy seeing Blackmore Crest has invested 180 food into eco at this point. And here we go. The Fox is on the board. Blackmore Crest is very smartly not trying to just target fire down that Fox. He's hoping that he can eliminate the rest of Swifty's army, leave that Fox vulnerable. Because if you try to just target fire down that Fox, you might walk your whole army through your opponent's army. But a lot of pigeons here for Blackmore Crest. 6 is pretty large amount. That's all he had left over. The Fox able to put on enough pressure. Blackmore Crest knows where the game is going from there. Taps out. Swifty advances to duel number 17. Yeah, sorry guys. Need to mute my mic. Got a little bit of sore throat today. Apologize for the snorting and coughing. Alright. Swifty hopping into duel 17. Let's get into it. Alright, spawning on the left, we've got the Revolutionary, Swifty. And his opponent to the right, the Duelist, Cold Warp Gates. Ooh, Cold Warp Gates. Going for double tier 3 deck. I always love to see it. I don't know if it's quote-unquote good or correct, but it's fun and it's awesome. I think it works better with like wolf combos, wolf badger, wolf boar, wolf fox, wolf owl. Not wolf owl as much. I think though, if you're gonna go fox and do double tier 3, it makes the most sense to either pair it with the wolf or pair it with the owl. Because going fox badger, you're really, I mean, not 100% of the time, but in my opinion, you're kind of just giving yourself the flexibility to either go badger or fox, because badger and fox are both really micro-intensive units, so it would be hard to control both of them at the same time. You know what I'm saying? That's why fox and owl can work so well, because owl is not really micro-intensive. You just launch the mice and pull it back, and then from there you can focus on controlling your fox. So Swifty grabbing that quick campfire, and very, very aggressive build coming out of Cold Warp Gates. I don't know why I'm just now commenting on it, and he pulled a fast one on Swifty. Swifty, the last time he scouted, saw Cold Warp Gates going for an 8-farm opening, and he did a little bit of a risky play here by not doing a follow-up scout, and got bamboozled. Cold Warp Gates showing up on Swifty's door with 3 squirrels, and Swifty doesn't have any warrens at all. No, Cold Warp Gates commander goes down. That gives Swifty an opportunity here. But does Cold Warp Gates just have too many units anyways? 2 pigs go down. As these squirrels move in, the Warren falls as well. And Cold Warp Gates is able to get these squirrels back in time. Doesn't actually lose anything. That commander dying was not a big deal. And I think Cold Warp Gates just wins here. Off a nice mind game onto his opponent in the early match. I mean, Swifty might clean this up, but he's taken so much damage. If this was a ladder game, I'd imagine Swifty might just tap out. But since this is a tournament match, why not stay in it? Why not try to make something happen? Do a little bit of fast forward here. And this game is really in Cold Warpgate's hands now. Let's see how he decides to continue this. Yeah, he's just going to keep the pressure on with the squirrels. If I want to be really nitpicky, I would have liked to see him done a little bit of macro between these two waves. You know, throw down another Warren, throw down that farm. But this might simply be too much. Nice target fire onto the squirrels. The Warren is going to fall. More pigs are going to go down. Nice pullback from Cold Warpgates, not losing his commander this time. And he's going to go back home after doing even more damage to his opponent. Yeah, now here we go with the macro round. I like the pigeons coming in there. Going to give him more sustainability in the field. And he needs to just rinse and repeat. He doesn't want to give Swifty any breathing room. He wants to continue this aggression. I wouldn't even mind to see him grab a campfire, but this wave should kill Swifty. Let's see how well Swifty can control and see if maybe Cold Warpgates makes any mistakes here. Now, Swifty's got a good amount of squirrels at this point. He's got to focus fire these down. The Warren goes down. The pig's going to be denied again. And now Warpgates doesn't really even mind trading pound for pound. Needs to be careful. His commander goes down. This is an opportunity for Swifty to take the better trades, but he really doesn't have a lot anyways. And Warpgates with the constant pressure. I think this is 100% correct. If he can just keep coming in here and, you know, killing Warrens, killing pigs, like Swifty has never been able to get up to 8 farms this game. He's trying to dance this fine line, this tightrope walk between, you know, keeping the pressure on, taking advantage of his tempo, but not overextending. This is really hard to do in Tooth and Tail. You know, Defender's advantage is really, really strong. That's why we see Swifty is still alive. But again, the Warrens go down, this pig should go down, and this is just too much compounded damage. Swifty finally taps out and loses a life here against Cold Warpgates. All right. Duel 17, match 2. Spawning on the right, we've got the revolutionary Swifty. And his opponent to the left, the duelist, Cold Warpgates. All right, so Cold Warpgates won that last game off pulling a fast one on Swifty. And really, Swifty can't be mad about that. I mean, he lost because his scouting pattern, like he did so that's like the first scout right there, right, where you just kind of find where they are and then make sure they have that 5th farm queued so they're not doing anything silly in the early game. And then you do a follow-up scout to determine what build order they're going for. You know, are they going 8 farm? Are they going 5 farm Warren? Are they going 5 farm double? And then from there, you need to do another follow-up scout to ensure that they don't tech switch on you. And what happened last game was Swifty opted to not go for that 3rd follow-up scout, instead assuming Cold Warpgates was not going to tech switch when Cold Warpgates did, and he beat him. I lost the game in a tournament against Chip from space like that. I mean, it always feels bad when it happens, but you really do need to get this 3rd scout. And now that Swifty confirms, okay, Cold Warpgates is not going for anything crazy, now his 4th scout on the map, you can really go out and get some survey work done and start understanding the topography of the map. Oh, Swifty. Is he going to do it? Ah, he teased me, man. He saved up till 180 food, dropped 3 Warrens. Oh, but I think he just wanted to mind game Cold Warpgates, but his scout didn't get there in time. Now, I should have been watching Cold Warpgates' vision. I don't think he saw it, but he's going to see it here. Yeah, so what Swifty was doing is he wanted Cold Warpgates to come in, see the 3 tier 1, sell them off when he left, and tech switch into the Badger. But Swifty is going to continue that pattern of mind games here, sell off that Badger that got scouted by Cold Warpgates, and go into tier 2 instead. Cold Warpgates threw his own tier 3 down in response to seeing that Badger Warren in the form of the Fox, and this might still be fine for Cold Warpgates. I wouldn't mind to see him keep the Fox. He might have to build some turrets to defend, to contest against this big attack that's going to come out of Swifty, but I think he's safe enough Yeah, this is a beautiful opening here from Cold Warp Gates. And at this point, you don't want to build anything else, because if you build the Tier 3 Warren and 4 Tier 1 Warrens, you'll have just enough money to finance the Tier 3 Warren, or the unit rather. See, look at that. Boom. And now that the Fox is paid for, Cold Warp Gates needs to keep an eye on Swifty, needs to see when he's moving out, and try to build some emergency turrets at the last moment. Cold Warp Gates verifies that Swifty is moving out. He needs to get a turret or two up and running. There he goes. This looks good for Cold Warp Gates, in my opinion. I'm very used to doing this build that Warp Gates is doing here, and if he controls this right, he should be okay. But I don't think he should have sold that other turret. I think 2 turrets here would have been better. But let's see it. He should be able to hold this. Yeah. Nice micro by Swifty, keeping that snake alive. But he's not going to break his opponent. Cold Warp Gate's really not suffering losses there. It doesn't lose any Warrens or farms or anything like that. And the Fox is now here. As long as he is careful with this Fox, doesn't let it get poisoned, he should be okay. You know, this is actually a really phenomenal spot for Cold Warp Gates. He's even got pigeons here to help buffer against the snake poison. And yeah, this is looking good for Warp Gates, man. He might be taking another life off Swifty here. As long as he doesn't make a critical mistake, if he controls this Fox correctly, you know, he should, in theory, bust down Swifty. Swifty doesn't have a whole lot to deal with this Fox. He's got no defenses. He doesn't have lizards or chameleons or anything like that. He does have Snake, which snakes can do well against Fox, but it really depends on positioning and engagements. I still feel like the Fox is favored against Snake, but I think it's possible for the snakes to get in there and get the Fox taken care of. But with all these pigeons here, it's not a big deal if a couple stacks of poison get on the Fox, but 3 stacks of poison is a lot. The pigeons, are they going to be able to heal through it? It looks like they are. Very close, though. Any caution? No! Oh, the pigeons stopped healing it to heal squirrels. Oh, those dumb pigeons. Ugh. That hurts all the Fox players. And everyone who hates the Fox is cheering right now. So Cold Warp Gates is going to commit to another Fox. And both players are going to try to get up some second bases at this point. And we might get into a macro game. Nicely done there by Swifty. Little bit of a mistake on Cold Warp Gates' part, in my opinion, to let that Fox get so many stacks of poison on it. But nobody's perfect, man. This is a tournament match. There's nerves, you know. Especially when you're the underdog and it's like, oh my god, I just beat Swifty, you know, and I'm about to beat him again. Like, sometimes you just screw up a little bit, which is fine. But Cold Warp Gates is not dead yet. He's still in a great spot. And, but Swifty, I like Swifty's spot a little bit better, I feel like. As long as this attack doesn't kill him. This Fox is out again, though. So actually, I don't know why I didn't notice that. But if Cold Warp Gates pilots this right, he should take this engagement. He should deny this base and win the game. The snake is already dead. There's another snake here in the back, but it's not going to be able to get close enough to this Fox. The Fox is already going to start shooting at this snake. And this should be game. I think Cold Warp Gates is about to take another life from Swifty. Fantastic play in both these matches from Cold Warp Gates. Swifty should be tapping out. There he goes. All right, man. Swifty taking some blows. Down to 2 lives left. As Cold Warp Gates is putting up a great fight here in duel number 17 as we hop into the 3rd match. All right, spawning in the bottom, we've got the duelist Swifty. And his opponent to the top right, the revolution, or I'm sorry, I said that backwards. The revolutionary Swifty, and his opponent to the top right, the duelist, Cold Warp Gates. All right, Swifty's not screwing around anymore, man. He's already lost 2 lives, so he brings out, in my opinion, it would be the deck he's very comfortable with, and here it is going to be Squirrel, Lizard, Pigeon, Ferret, Chameleon, Fox. I like this. It has a lot of variety. You know, lizards always add a ton of flavor to a deck, a ton of styles that you can go into. Ferrets are nice for that harassment play. Chameleons can ambush or do flank attacks or help tank in the front lines. And finally, he's always got that option to go for a fast fox. Now, Cold Warp Gates knows Swifty loves his tier 3. He loves his badger. He loves his fox. So he grabs the turret and balloon this time around. And I think we saw Cold Warp Gates with this deck in a previous match, I want to say against Mishi. And I like it. I like the concept of it. You know, it's a really macro late game deck with the flavor of the lizards to transition. Or just build nothing but lizards. That's always a possibility when you have lizards in your deck. But again, I always think it's risky, man. If you're only running lizards, you know, you got to run Lizard Toad or Lizard Squirrel. Of course, you don't have to. And in this game, it's not going to punish Cold Warp Gates too bad because Swifty doesn't have the Toads. But it's always nice to be able to tech out of lizards if your opponent does have Toads. Or at the very least, try to pilot your own Toads to blow up on your opponent's Toads, right? So Swifty going for a quick campfire, going for that fast chameleon. Throwing up a mine here or there. No, that's actually Warp Gates mines. And let's see how Warp Gates wants to play. He hasn't really made any big decisions yet. Yeah, so far he's just getting a lot of lizards. And this might work. He's going to run in and deal some damage to this campfire. He's got this mine to fall back to. Swifty's got a few squirrels here, but not enough to contest these lizards. As these lizards are going to hop onto these squirrels, knock them out real quickly. Even take a Warren, but maybe committed too hard into those squirrels. I would have liked to see him really focus in on trying to kill this campfire. Which he very well could still, but the chameleon has now hit the board, and chameleons are phenomenal against lizards. So, I don't know. I think Cold Warp Gates should have committed to the campfire earlier. Okay, he's going to get the campfire anyways. That's good. And now he can just run away against this chameleon. Swifty retaking that campfire immediately. And the game is going to progress from here. Okay, Cold Warp Gates grabbing an expansion. Gonna run around and try to hit from the other side with these lizards. He can snipe this tier 2 Warren very, very quickly. Swifty gonna get in position, but... oh, man, he actually defends it. No chameleons go down. He defends the tier 2 Warren. Nice pickup there for Swifty. Getting a whole bunch of lizards and really not losing anything. Might do a little fast forwarding here. I do have a lot of games to get through and not a whole lot of time, so we're going to fast forward through the not so action-packed portions of these games here. Swifty with a whole lot of lizards of his own coming up. I think Swifty's getting ready for a big attack. He has scouted that Cold Warp Gates is trying to get a second base up and running. He doesn't see the campfire over to the side, though, I don't think. And uh-oh. We've got two passing ships in the night as Swifty's moving up one way to attack Cold Warp Gates as Warp Gates is coming in the other. Mine goes off, but I don't think it's too impactful. Cold Warp Gates already at the main base of Swifty. Swifty decides to commit. And is he going to just win? Is this Grismo going to be up in time? I don't think so. And Cold Warp Gates is on fire. Takes 3 lives from Swifty, you guys. Cold Warp Gates. This dude has been training, man. He's been up on the mountaintops, dude. Studying the old Clash of Comrades VODs, the holy documents. Meditating. Memorizing all the stats of all the units. Playing like an absolute madman against one of the top players, Swifty. Alright, man, let's see if Cold Warp Gates wins this game. Swifty is knocked out, and Mishi wins the event. But this is it. Swifty's tournament life is on the line. He's got to win here to continue. Let's see it. Match number 17. Duel 17, I should say. Alright, guys. Spawning on the right on his last life is the revolutionary Swifty. And his opponent to the left, kicking some ass, taking some names. We've got the duelist, Cold Warp Gates. Alright. What are the styles here? What are these players going to go for? That's the question on everybody's mind. We've got some similar decks from the previous games. Man, I can't believe Gold Warp Gates, dude. This is awesome. This map is okay. I mean, Swifty can take this expansion and it will put him in a nice spot on the double high ground to start securing this high ground outside his opponent's base. Excuse me. Cold Warp Gates, however, has an easy campfire in the early game. Has a pretty decent second base as long as he can secure this high ground area. And if this game went long, I think this map is in favor of Cold Warp Gates, as if Warp Gate starts securing this area with that base, he can kind of just start working his way up north, right? Then we get to this point where Cold Warp Gates is on 4 mills while Swifty's only on 2, so let's see it though. That's a late game prediction, however, and Cold Warp Gates is gonna try that kind of mind game situation that he did in a previous match and transition into a ton of tier 1. However, this wasn't as quickly as he did it last time, so it's not, I don't know if this is gonna work. I think Swifty's gonna be just fine to defend this. I think he's gonna have enough units. As you can see, Cold Warp Gates is really not building too many more units than Swifty is at this point. So Cold Warp Gates realizes that he's not going to commit into that style, sells off a Warren, gets his farm up, grabs that campfire. Swifty does scout that campfire, so he knows he's got to take his own campfire. Does he know about this one? Yeah, okay. So he knows he's got a couple campfire options. He's either got to take his own campfire, take a mill, or put on pressure very, very soon. Now he's building ferrets, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him. Oh, as I say that, he tech switches out of the ferrets into the fox. Now, if these squirrels can deny the scout from Warp Gates, which they do, that's very powerful. Warp Gates is still under the impression that a tier 2 is on the way, and he's probably feeling pretty good, right? Because he's like, okay, Swifty's just naturally progressing. So am I. I'm going a little more tier 1 heavy, but I've also got this campfire, and Swifty does not. If Warp Gates doesn't learn about this fox very soon, this could be bad for him. He's gonna have to sacrifice himself for a full scout, and he does, but he doesn't get the full memo. He does know, however, that tier 2 was sold off by Swifty if he's paying really close attention. So is that enough of a red flag for Cold Warp Gates to know something is up? The Fox Warren should be completing any second now. There it goes. Swifty very smartly, precisely has just enough food to get that fox going, and now Cold Warp Gates knows that the fox is on the way. However, he knows there's not a whole lot of time, and he decides to put out his own fox warren anyways. Interesting, because he knows that warren's already built, right? So he knows that Swifty's fox at a minimum is 50 seconds away, but it could be like right now, you know what I mean? He doesn't know how long until his fox is built, and he's gonna move in with this attack, and his commander goes down. This is gonna be terrible for him. Swifty target fires down most of those toads. The rest of the toads hit that warren, and Swifty just cleans house of Warp Gate's army. This is what I was kind of mentioning earlier, man. You lose your commander, and it can be so easy to do. You in high level play like this, you can absolutely lose the game. And I think that's the scenario we're in right now, unfortunately. I think, at least for Warp Gates, unfortunately for Swifty's hope of advancing through the 21 duels and fighting Mishi to be crowned the winner. Swifty, as long as he doesn't screw up from here, should have the game in the bag off the back of that wonderful engagement, off the back of a little bit of mind games and getting the fox out without his opponent being hit to it fast enough. Warp Gates has his own fox on the way, but it's not going to get here in time. We'll watch him duke it out, but Swifty should absolutely have the match from here. Boom. Toad snipe. Oh, the fox will get out for Cold Warp Gates, but is it going to do anything is the question. Simply too much momentum, too much damage here. Warp Gates isn't tapping out. Why would you? It's a tournament game, as I've said. 1 HP on that fox. Swifty's not even really trying to target it down. He knows it doesn't even matter at this point. He's got enough. The fox falls, and with that, Cold Warp Gates' hope of winning this game taps out. And Swifty advances to duel number 18 with 1 life left. Cold Warp Gates has got to be happy about his performance there. Taking 3 lives, man. That is absolutely huge. Alright guys, let's keep it going. Swifty versus Meowkaiser. Spawning on the left, we've got the duelist, Meowkaiser. And his opponent to the right, the revolutionary on his last life, we've got Swifty. Okay. Okay. I love these frost maps, man. I really like them. Maybe because I'm a Florida boy. I've only really seen like snowy winters a few times in my life. I just love them, man. Like, one of my favorite travel trips I think I've ever been on was to Colorado. And we did a bunch of hiking in the mountains and stuff and threw snowballs at each other, built snowmen. It was a lot of fun. It's really fun to go visit snow, but people tell me like snow is a big pain in the ass if you live there. Like, I just get to fly in, have fun, you know, make some snow angels and get the hell out of there. I don't have to deal with, you know, icy roads all the time or shoveling snow and things like that. But I do have to deal with insane heat and reptiles and insects and stuff, so it balances out. Nobody gets it for free. Okay. Not a whole lot to say here quite yet. 8 farm openings from both players. Swifty might be going into a quick tier 2 off the back of the 8 farms. Sees Meowkaiser has built only 1 tier 1. Let's see what Swifty decides to go for. Yeah, it goes in right into a snake. This has kind of been figured out to be pretty safe against 8 farm 2 tier 1 openings. Like, you can go 8 farm tier 2 into tier 1 and kind of be okay with maybe a couple exceptions. A really small rush distance map where you're pretty open, and like I've done some timing hits where I've hit somebody going for like 8 farm tier 2, you know, when I went 8 farm 2 tier 1 and hit them with a few more lizards or squirrels, you know what I'm saying? Maybe pick off a warren or something, but in general, you're not going to punish it hard enough. And then right when that tier 2 unit comes out, the attack's over. So no campfires yet, no gristmills yet, just some tier 2 from both players. The only difference here is Swifty has gone for double tier 2, while Meowkaiser with just a single tier 2 warren at the moment. This looks really good map-wise for Swifty. I mean, he's got these 2 campfires right in his front yard. He's got this base up top that should be easy to defend. He's even got this base over here that's not so bad. And on Meowkaiser's side of the map, things are looking pretty good too. He's got 3 pretty easy bases to secure, tucked together. So we might do a little bit of fast forwarding here, as I am trying to get through all of the games today. I think Meowkaiser responded to this campfire correctly, grabbing his own gristmill and 2 farms on it to stay just 1 farm ahead on the economy. But Swifty is going up to his own gristmill. I'm kind of waiting to see if either player wants to move out or if they build a tier 3, and there we go, Swifty grabbing that fox. Let's see if Meowkaiser gets the scout off on it. He should. And no, he doesn't. He sees the gristmill and he thinks that's all the juicy information he needed, so he leaves. But he really needs to see this fox. Meowkaiser does have some fox answers here. He's got Chameleon, Owl, Mine, Turret. Those are all pretty good against the fox. Falcons are horrible against the fox, though. So I'm curious. I'm kind of keeping my eye on Meowkaiser right now. I'd like to see if he gets the scout off. His knowledge is half the battle when it comes to dealing with tier 3 from your opponent. He has not seen it, but he knows how many farms his opponent's going for. And Meowkaiser probably feels pretty happy. He knows that his economy is a little bit ahead of Swifty's. He has a general idea of what Swifty's army composition is. Swifty coming in here and just checking around and seeing if Meowkaiser has his own tier 3 warren up. Doesn't spot it. Okay, you can kind of extrapolate that base for Meowkaiser is most likely fully saturated, and the fox is almost here. Meowkaiser going into a lot of chameleons, though. Chameleons can be pretty good against fox, but I feel like snakes do and toads do pretty well against chameleons, so I don't know. Got a nice macro game on our hands. The third base being picked up here for Meowkaiser. All right, we've hit the 5-minute mark. Those main bases are starting to drain. Swifty's ready to put the pressure on. He's got his Fox, and he's gonna start the harassment immediately. Meowkaiser not happy to see that Fox, but the Fox goes down immediately to the burst damage of the chameleons and the falcons. Swifty can't be happy about that. Nice pickup there for Meowkaiser. He pulled that Fox up a little bit too far forward. He's going to decide to try to get another Fox out, but I don't know if he's going to have time. Meowkaiser is pushing in. Oh my god. Oh my god, you guys. Is Swifty going to die? I think Swifty's dead. He doesn't have time to get that other Fox out. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Swifty is going to be defeated by Meowkaiser. Right? Am I crazy? Swifty really doesn't want to die. He's in denial. But Meowkaiser has done it. All those chameleons and the falcons helped out with the burst. That Fox just got bopped on it. It looked like such a good position for Swifty. If his Fox was just a little bit further back, I think he would have been just fine in that engagement. And now it's over. Swifty just hanging out in the game. Taps out. And I think that's it. I'm verifying with the gentleman. Yep, okay, that's it. So Mishi wins the tournament. Congratulations to Mr. Mishi, advancing all the way through. Iris made it to DJ Soak. And Swifty made it to Meowkaiser one stage beforehand. Cold Warp Gates, man, really putting the show on against Swifty there. So congratulations for Mr. Mishi. I think, gentlemen, I can hang on a sec. Okay, so gentleman is going to get he's working on a summary at the moment, and we'll show off that graphic. Really cool to see, man. This is an awesome event. I think it was great. There's been several episodes over multiple Twitch channels with different people involved. So if you want to see everything, maybe this is the first you've seen of the 21 Duels Challenge, then head over to the Gentleman's 21 Duels Challenge Discord. If somebody watching this video could please link that in the chat, that'd be awesome. It might be on my channel too. I'd have to check. Let me see. Results. Can I do something like this? I don't know, this probably isn't even necessary, but just for fun. Boom, yeah. Alright, so Mishi won the 21 Duels Challenge with 4 lives remaining. Congratulations to him. Really cool event. One thing that's always impressed me a lot with the Tooth and Tail competitive scene is that it's never like just regular 1v1 double elimination bracket tournaments, you know what I mean? Like, there's always really cool ideas and concepts for tournaments, and I think this 21 Duels Challenge was a really neat idea. And it kind of had that Tooth and Tail League format where players could kind of agree on what time worked best for them, you know what I mean? Which is nice. You know, you message Swifty, hey, can you play Wednesday night at 7 or whatever? And we got through it. It's been going on for a few months now, and I think Gentleman is going to announce the next part of this here shortly. Yeah, I think the new season is starting soon. I think he's probably, as I'm saying this right now, putting info in the chat on how to sign up, but don't quote me on that. But it was a lot of fun, man. I had a blast. And yeah, so just waiting on. Yeah, keep in mind to sign up for season 2, guys. Don't forget about the one year anniversary tournament that was over on Mishi's channel. So check that out as well. Thanks again for everybody involved. Thanks to all the duelists who were involved. I was really impressed. Like, there was a lot of people involved with this. I mean, you've got 21 duelists, right? And then you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 21 duelists, 8 revolutionaries, and then I casted, so that's 29. And then I was a caster, Jet, Prozix, and Gabe and y'all casted, if I recall correctly. So that's 33 people involved with this. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so I got the final results here. And we'll show those off to everybody. Okay. Hang on. Boom. There we go. Alright, so Arc 3, that's what we did today. Cold Warp Gates took 1 life from Iris. 3 lives from Shifty. Meow Kaiser also contributing here, taking a life from Swifty and eliminating him, and also got a game off Mishi. DJ Soak took a life from Iris and eliminated him, and Mishi made it all the way to the top as the winner. So there you go. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Sorry this is a bit of a weird format with the pre-recorded video type thing. But it was the best I could do, man. I still wanted to do this today. I know gentlemen wanted to get this finished up today, so season 2 can begin. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed watching this pre-recorded broadcast of the finale and had a good time in chat. And I will see y'all next time. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.